shorty want a friend. Illinois Wesleyan Titan basketball pregame show is coming up in 2 minutes. 2 minutes from Mark. Pregame show coming up in 90 seconds. 90 seconds from Mark. Countdown to Titan pregame show in 1 minute. 1 minute from Mark. Pregame show begins in 30 seconds. 30 seconds from Mark. $20. 15. 10. 9. 8, 7, 6, 5. Get over the right side, the cutter to Hardy for the throwdown. A senior day to remember for Grant Hardy with an Well, the Titans have made it through finals week, and this week they have two tough tests on the court, starting with today's matchup against the defending CCIW tournament champions. Live from Denny Bridges Court at Shirk Center at Illinois Wesleyan University, this is Illinois Wesleyan Titan basketball on 88.1 FM, WBSN, and IWSports.com as the 10th ranked Illinois Wesleyan Titans host the Blue Jays from Elmhurst University. Good afternoon, Eric Stock here along with Matt Sossler. This is the first of two big games here at Shirk Center for the Titans. They have a big one against the number 2 ranked team in the country later this week, but conference games always take priority. This is a game featuring the defending regular season champs against the defending tournament champs, Matt. Yet one of these teams is going to enter the holiday break with 2 conference losses.
Yeah, Eric, if I asked you where you were on February the 24th of 2024, I know exactly where you were. You were right here, and you were calling an Elmhurst CCIW tournament victory. That was reminded to these players in practice yesterday as they closed out their session that the Blue Jays, regardless of who they lost in terms of player personnel, we'll get into that later, they cut down the nets at Shirk Center earlier this calendar year, and that is an image that is vivid in the mind of the Titans, especially like you said, Eric, 2 losses in conference play. You cannot win a conference title in December, but you can certainly lose a lot in December, and 2 early losses before Christmas break is certainly detrimental to whoever's on the losing end of this game.
Well, the Titans and the Blue Jays both had their break for finals, so they get back into the swing of things after their first week of conference play. For the Titans, they had 2 grinded out affairs here against Carthage, a game in which they lost, and then came back with a strong rally in the last 6 minutes to win at Carroll to get their first conference victory. Meanwhile, Elmhurst started at home for the first weekend, and sort of emblematic of how their season has gone so far this year. In a lot of games, couldn't close out that first one. They led by double digits in the second half in their first conference game against Augustana, lost by 11, and then held on to beat Wheaton on Saturday, 73-67. While the Titans come in at 7-1 overall, Blue Jays 4-4, but that could be very deceiving because they've already played two nationally ranked teams, including number 1 Trine, and they've been in every contest so far.
Yeah, at this point you look at the non-conference slate for Illinois Wesleyan. Believe me, that's been no cakewalk either, but really all you have to look at when you go into these conference games is you look at how they've done against common opponents. In this case, I believe there's only 2 as of now to look at, and I'm correct with Augustana and Wheaton. Even if you go back to last year, but if you look at this year alone, there's no common opponents between the Titans and the Blue Jays, so there's not a big data set to take a peek at. However, you look at the battles of years past, you look at other common opponents, maybe take a 1 or 2 step indirect. That's the data you have to go off of, and Elmhurst, like you said, Eric, has been in a lot of these games. However, you can say you've been in a lot of games, and if you're not on the winning side, it doesn't mean a whole ton. It
is a series that historically Illinois Wesleyan has dominated, going back to 1947. The Titans lead the series 117-29. None of that really matters. If you look at the last 5 years, last 10 head-to-head battles, they've split 5-5. 2 of those games were CCIW championship games, both won by the Blue Jays. Starting in February of 2020 at Naperville, they denied a chance for the Titans to go to the NCAA tournament, and they did so again last year, winning, as Matt alluded to, back in February. Both of those years, obviously the Titans get into the tournament with a win, but in both of those seasons, it's fair to say one win at any point in either season probably gets them in. So when you think about that and the impact of a game in mid-December, that still has to be in their minds.
Exactly, and when you look at everything that's on the line, whether it be as simple as a first-round bye in the CCIW tournament, you certainly point back to games that happen in December. We'll take a look at the scores from yesterday around the CCIW men's basketball slate. Not a whole ton to write home about, but steps in the right direction for numerous programs looking to position themselves in the best spot possible as they head into the holiday break, because teams will go into non-conference play for a couple of weeks wherever their travels may take them, and then starting January 4th, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, all throughout until the end of February, and that's when the true meat and potatoes of the season begin.
And as tough as the early season has been so far for both of these teams, it's not going to get any easier after today. We mentioned the Titans will welcome number 2 Wash U here to Shark Center for their annual early season rivalry game. That's on Thursday night at 7. And not to be outdone, the Blue Jays, having already played 2 top 10 teams, will play 2 more top 10 teams in Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend. They'll play the Jay Billis Classic in Charlotte against number 7 Randolph-Macon and number 5 Christopher Newport. And there's no reason to think they'll be overlooking Illinois Wesleyan here today, but that is quite the gauntlet for the Blue Jays in 1 week early in the season.
And that's setting themselves up, because of the 3, I could add in 4 with Augustana, of Illinois Wesleyan, Augustana, Elmhurst, and Carthage. Only one of them gets an automatic invite to the big dance. So like the Titans have done, cruising through their non-conference slate up until this point, that's something we didn't see from Round Rose's squad last year, and like you said, Eric, that might be the reason why their season did not continue into the national tournament. Well, they've accomplished that goal by going perfect in the initial non-conference slate. They still have a few more games to go over the holiday, but you still have to win these games in order to make your resume look as healthy and as clean as possible, especially with MPI. We'll get into that a lot over the course of this season, but considering a computer decides if you play on or not, you have to make it look good.
It's not the traditional doubleheader today because the Titan women played Elmhurst yesterday and won handily, 93-56 to stay undefeated. We'll have a recap on that at halftime, but we did have a preliminary game today, and it was a dandy as the varsity reserves for the Titans rallied from a double-digit deficit of the second half to win 94-92. Connor Williams hit a go-ahead shot in the final minute, and then Alex Schmitz hit the deciding three with 19 seconds on the clock to win 94-92. We would take a repeat of that in this one, right?
That was fantastic. And the one thing about varsity reserves games is sometimes they get written off. Oh, it's the varsity reserves, doesn't matter. Asterisk on that. Yes, it does, because the varsity reserve game that happened today could easily be a CCIW championship game next year, if not the year after, with similar matchups on the basketball court. So if that's a preview for what could be today, what could be later in February in the game at Fagnall Hall, next year and the year after, it was certainly exciting. Take the results out of it, but you look at the Titans trailing by double digits, exploiting similar themes that the varsity squad has had to overcome over the course of this season, trailing late and able to come away with a dub.
And one of the key players who had substantial minutes in that varsity reserves game will be on the floor in this contest, making his varsity debut for this season. He'd been sidelined by an injury, but the Titans are also down a player with an injury, and they've got a change in the starting lineup, which we'll all get to when we come back, and we'll hear from Coach Ron Rose in the CCIW matchup. 10th ranked Illinois Wesleyan against Elmhurst, back after this pregame timeout from Shirk Center. Titan basketball on IWSports.com.
OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute has been named one of the top hospital systems in the country for heart care. This prestigious award by the American College of Cardiology comes from our commitment to providing the highest quality of care, from general cardiology to complex surgeries and the latest technology. Nationally recognized heart care right here. OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute.
And welcome back to Shirk Center at Illinois Wesleyan. Eric Stock here and Matt Sossler. We're moments away from tipping off today's CCIW matchup between the Titans and the Elmhurst Blue Jays. We mentioned some personnel changes for Illinois Wesleyan. They do get one player back who has been sidelined for the season thus far. Brady Keel, the 6'6 sophomore from St. Louis, sidelined with a fracture in his stress fracture at his right leg, is going to play today. Limited minutes as they work him into the rotation and also try to find a role for a young guy in a team that's already very deep, even in the front court. So we'll see how that goes here this afternoon. They will be without David Williams, who experienced foot soreness in his left foot in the game against Carroll, a game in which he had substantive minutes. He's going to go to the doctor tomorrow and get that checked out, and still very hard to tell what his future prognosis will be. They hope to get him back on the court after the game on Thursday. Of course, the Titans do get some time off before they're back out on the floor when they go to Dallas after Christmas, so that will hopefully give him some extra time to work his way back into the lineup. And the Titans making a change in the starting lineup here today as freshman Josh Fridman from Glenbrook North, who had key minutes off the bench in the last number of games, in particular in the comeback against Carroll last week, will get his first start this afternoon. And Jackson Ego, the sophomore from Lyons Township, struggling a little bit offensively this year. They're hoping this can take a little bit of pressure off of him, and they still want and expect him to be a key contributor this season and for the next several. Yeah,
especially since, take the David Williams injury out of it, even if you had three healthy point guards, they say a move like this could be detrimental to somebody, but it doesn't have to be. I'll let Coach Rose speak about this first. However, moving Nigo to the bench could easily give him the ability to do what got him in the starting lineup to start this year, similar to what he did last year.
All right, Coach Ron Rose here as his team prepares for the Blue Jays today. Well, Coach, the finals are over for the guys this past week. I'm sure that's quite a bit of focus for them, and understandably so. How do you expect them to come out of that as they prepare for the next 3 weeks of pure basketball?
Yeah, we always joke that, they're professional basketball players right now for the next 3 weeks. They got nothing else to worry about.
To be clear, they're not getting paid.
No, they're not getting paid, even though when I said that, they were asking about NIL money. Oh. So in today's world, yes, right. You can do that.
That is perfectly legal.
Yeah. It's been a rough couple weeks, to be honest. We've got a lot of guys that have really been grinding academically, and it's the same for every college student athlete. But it's a tough time, and I will say we've had probably our two best practices in the last 2 or 3 weeks. The last two, it's funny how you just take the weight of the world off their shoulders and probably getting a little more sleep and playing with a little more energy, and we needed to do that because I do feel like we have kind of been scuffling along here the last 2-3 weeks, not playing as well, not playing the same way we had earlier in the year, practicing the same way as we had earlier in the year. And so I'm certainly hoping that getting through finals will give us a little shot of energy that we need.
So does that enable you to go deeper in practice as well, to do more, try more?
Well, they just finished Friday. So we had guys that had 2 final exams on Friday, and that's why, quite honestly, we moved this game to Sunday. Just didn't feel like it was, and John Baines fortunately agreed with me. They were in finals as well, that it was better for our guys to in game prep to push it back one day. So, but I will say this, we've been really sharp and been able to identify the last couple days areas and adjustments that we feel like we need to make to start playing better basketball.
And what kind of adjustments are you talking about?
Well, offensively, to be honest, just more energy in both is a kind of a broad statement, but offensively, just spacing the floor better, moving the ball quicker decisions, being able to utilize what I think are a really good skill set for our guys, but when the ball doesn't move very quickly or you're very compact in your offense, it doesn't allow anyone any space to move. And so, I think space is the most important element of any offense in basketball, and so we've been working hard on that. And then defensively, that's still where we have to hang our hats, where we've hung it the last couple years. We have to be a great defensive team, and hopefully we can start creating some offense from our defense.
Last outing a week ago had a good late comeback at Carroll, but 2 really physical games with Carthage and Carroll back-to-back, and certainly, I imagine, you're expecting the same thing today from Elmhurst.
Well, Elmhurst, if you go back historically over the last 4 or 5 years, have been as physical as anybody in the conference. And clearly, if you go back even beyond our first 2 CCIW games, go all the way back to Wisconsin Stout, I mean, if you didn't know it was basketball, you might have thought it was rugby or wrestling. I mean, it's been super physical, and that's how teams are playing us. They're not going to give us freedom of movement, because if we have freedom of movement, we're pretty darn good. And so if you look at how teams are playing us, and you can hear the coach talking, the coach is encourages more and more physicality, and so you got to expect it. That's how Elmhurst is going to come out. We need to adjust quicker. I think we've been kind of thrown on our heels every game because they're coming at us, and we're waiting to see how it's going to be officiated. We can't wait. We've got to be aggressive from the tip, and I would expect it to be, a really physical game today as well.
You get Brady Keel back for the first time, the sophomore from St. Louis. What do you expect from him in the first couple of days as he gets slowly back into the swing of things?
Yeah, he's only practiced 2 or 3 times. Yesterday was his first full practice. He's getting a few minutes, kind of limited minutes in the VR game right now. But we're really excited to get Brady back. He was having a great preseason. He was playing really well. And so the goal right now is just to get him healthy, in shape, get his rhythm back, get him comfortable on the court, and hopefully we can, by second semester, get him back playing the way he was early in the year.
And keys to get the win today?
Well, we're going to have to play through physicality and hopefully impose some of it. We're a physically gifted team, so hopefully we can kind of impose some of our physicality. But the word on offense is going to be space, 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 and hopefully we can provide that today.
We appreciate the time. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you afterwards.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, the Blue Jays always a very physical team, though a much different look this year without the conference reigning MOP. Jonathan Zapinski, a terrific post player, a tremendous shot blocker and scorer. John Itunis, their leading scorer from a year ago at 18 points a game. Quinn Pemberton was a key player in the mix for them last year, all gone. And really for the first time in a long time, the Blue Jays are not led entirely by seniors and fifth-year seniors, sometimes sixth-year seniors. It's a much younger Elmhurst Blue Jays team than we are accustomed to. But we suspect that John Baines will have his team ready to compete with the top-tier teams in this league very soon, if not now.
And on the flip side, you have a very veteran-heavy Titan team. So the roles are a little bit reversed heading into this contest. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
As we send it down to Ben Alcine for the introduction of today's starting lineups.
Today's contest will feature the visiting Elmhurst University Blue Jays and your hosts, the Titans of Illinois Wesleyan. Elmhurst enters the contest 4-4 on the season, 1-1 in conference play. The Blue Jays are coached by John Baines in his 12th season with a record of 190 wins and 105 losses. Illinois Wesleyan is 7-1 overall, also 1-1 in the CCIW. Coaching the Titans in his 19th season at his alma mater, where he has won 6 conference championships with a record of 332 wins and 159 losses, Ron Rose. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now let's meet our starters. First for the Blue Jays from Elmhurst. 6'5" and a junior from Westchester, number 1, Dominic Trellenberg. 6'2" and a freshman from Carmel, Indiana, 11, Jack Cherry. A 6'3" graduate student from Westchester, 21, Tegan Pearson. 6'5" and a sophomore from Libertyville, 40, Aiden Boone. And a 6'7" junior from Clayton, Indiana, 54, Jaden Malachi. And now for the Titans. 6'8", and a senior from St. Louis, Missouri, number 12, Nick Roper. 6'5", and a sophomore from Normal, number 10, Mason Funk. The Titan center is a 6' 10" senior from St. Louis, Missouri, 20, Harrison Wilson. A guard, 5'10", and a freshman from Northbrook, 4, Josh Fredman. And a 6'3" senior from Round Lake, 0, Hakeem Williams.
So the Titans hope that a mental load has been taken off of them after a tough finals week in the classroom as they get ready for the Blue Jays here today. The Titans in their home whites, of course, with their trendy new throwback short sleeve warm-ups that they rolled out for the Carthage game, their last home game. And they're ready for the Blue Jays here today. They're 2-1 on their home floor this year. Haven't had a lot of action here since the Jack Sikma tournament a month ago. And the Blue Jays at 4-4 on the year, looking for their first road victory. They're 0-3 away from Faggot Hall this year. Our officials for today's game are Michael Kashirski, the referee, umpire Kyle Long, and Dave Cronin Sr. And Nick Roper wins the tip for Illinois Wesleyan with Josh Fridman, the freshman, at his first start at the controls for the Titans. Quick dump down inside to Hakeem Williams. Nice assist from Harrison Wilson.
Efficient offense for the Titans early.
So the Titans get the early lead, and it's Cherry up top against man-to-man defense here by Fridman as they work it around the horn as the Titans in single man-to-man coverage. Cherry looks for a back down on Fridman. Posting up, and Fridman get a hand on it, got the block. Leading the break, Fridman left of the lane, moves in. Bounce pass across to Funk for 2.
He may be a freshman. That's a varsity graduate student play from number 4.
Titans out to the early 4-0 advantage. Cherry setting up on the left side. Round to the right to Trellenberg. Al Pearson, who came off of the bench in their last game, back in the starting 5 today. Cross-court pass, nice setup for Pearson. His 3 is good.
Yeah, Pearson, one of the returning high-value rotation players for the Blue Jays. He'll make a big impact today.
Titans with a 4-3 lead. Push off away from the ball underneath here on the Blue Jays. That's going to be on Jaden Malachi, the junior from Clayton, Indiana. First whistle for either team. Fridman with the baseline inbound. Has to lob it out. And they'll set it up against man-to-man defense for the Blue Jays. Cross to Hakeem Williams. Out to Fridman. Well covered. Hakeem, a highly efficient shooter this year. Takes his man down deep. The post up on Pearson. Off the glass for 2.
I'm loving the guard play from Illinois Wesleyan from Fridman and Williams so far.
Fridman with an assist earlier. Hakeem with 4 of the Titans' first 6 as they lead by 3. Pearson looking for the pick from Malachi. Out high to Cherry. Shot clock at 7. Cherry down deep, has to fade over Fridman and missed it. Funk pulls down the miss. Titans look to break. Up by 3 here early. Funk all the way to the basket for 2. He blew past his man. And not a good start at all for John Baines and the Blue Jays. They've come out a little flat-footed, literally in that case, as they find themselves down by 5, barely 2 minutes in.
On that last play, Jaden Malachi and Tegan Pearson did the most lethal thing that you can do in any sport whatsoever, and that is call each other out on responsibility, pointing to each other, saying, you got him, you got him. As a result, Funk splits the middle, no issue for the Normal native. We're going to take a look at it one more time, and you see the efficiency from Josh Fridman on the assist. I mentioned how he's playing well beyond his years, and that is what this Titan offense needs. They've started out a little sluggish over the last month or so, and similar to what you see in football with a quarterback change. It's not an indictment on the prior starting quarterback, but maybe a little bit of a push on everybody else to get their act together, and it's shown early for Illinois Wesleyan.
Good to see Funk off to a good start as he struggled a little bit offensively, but had some big moments in their comeback against Carroll a week ago on both ends of the floor. And the Titans are 4 for 4 from the floor to start as they lead 8-3. We'll see how the Blue Jays respond to coming out of the timeout. Trellenberg puts a move on Roper. Fadeaway three falls out of bounds. That's a tough shot over the 6'7" wingspan of Nick Roper as he sailed it out of bounds. Titans shooting 45% from the floor. That's best in the league to this point. They've also been the stingiest on the defensive side in field goal percentage. Funk the pull-up. And their first miss. And the rebound taken by Boone for the Blue Jays. Trelleborg in the corner against Roper. One hands it out to Boone. Now Cherry. Titans plug up the pick. Hakeem Williams with a tight defense. Cross court to Trellenberg. Puts a move on Roper. He'll pull up. The lefty spins out. Tipped off the backboard, loose. And Hakeem Williams able to rip it away.
Roper got lucky. He made the incorrect decision fading back and was able to still force the miss.
Fridman got past his man, lost the dribble, but kept it alive. Out to Hakeem Williams for three. Skims off the rim. Gobbled up by Wilmson. On the cut into Hakeem Williams. Down deep in a double dribble. Called against Hakeem as he tried to gather the rock off the pass from Wilmson.
Even though that's not the result Illinois Wesleyan wanted, I'm loving the ball movement. I'm loving the fundamental basketball early in this ball game from the Titans. Sometimes when you're not playing your best, you have to go back to level one and start with the simple fundamentals and rebuild from there.
Wilmson out of the game. First off the bench is Marco Anderson, the 6'6" senior from Maine South, who is 6th in the league in rebounding, a 6.5 per game in his reserve role. Pearson on the left side draws the double, hit it off his knee, but regains control. New player in for the Blue Jays. Robert Roskowitz, the senior from Addison Trail. Now with the right side, Boone. And he ran into a double team, had his pocket pick. 2-on-1 out in front. Roper, there he goes, the left-handed throwdown for Nick Roper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard flight NR12, nonstop service to the rack.
Roper's first bucket, 10-3, now 4 minutes in. Trellenberg hands off to Cherry. Roskowitz runs into trouble, but regains control, hands it off. Trellenberg arches a three and knocks it down.
Much needed for Elmhurst after the deafening dunk from Roper.
Now 10-6, Titans in front. Funk spins the left side to Hakeem Williams, dumped down inside to Marco Anderson for two.
It's all about the fast-paced offense for Illinois Wesleyan at this point. I'm loving the assist, and look at Fridman here.
Rack up two more, and Coach Baines has to call another timeout as Illinois Wesleyan has jumped on them early with a 14-6 lead with a 15:24 to play in the first half. You got to figure the Blue Jays are going to respond at some point, but it has been a really rough first 5 minutes.
Part of that could be the week-long layoff. It's not just Illinois Wesleyan. Elmhurst, like Ron Rose alluded to in the pregame, had to deal with the same issue with the week-long layoff, and it impacts teams more than others. Both squads got the extra day. However, time off is a blessing and a curse. It hurts because you're losing game reps. However, for a game like this, especially for Elmhurst preparing for a top 10 team, that gives you more time to focus on yourselves, to learn more in the scout, and sometimes it doesn't pay off early, and we're seeing that from the Blue Jays. Just 2 of 6 from the field, even though that's 33%, shot volume just hasn't been there for Elmhurst.
Well, we've talked at times this year about the slow starts the Titans have had, but we can forget about that here today so far. 7 for 9 from the floor. 0 for 1 from the field. They've won 5 of 6 rebounds, and they forced a couple of turnovers here against the Blue Jays. And this is also a sign of a less experienced team as they're getting challenged here. And the Blue Jays on the flip side, they've actually started their games for the most part pretty well. When they've had losses against Trine, the number 1 team in the country, they played them tight for the first half and then some. Before Trine pulled away, we mentioned the second half comeback that Augustana had last week. Now we have Jackson Ego in off the bench for the first time today for Coach Rose as Trellenberg awaits the handoff. And the Titans keep their other 3 on the floor with one exception. Trey Bazell is in at one of the guard spots. The senior from Prairie Central High School. Roper pressuring Trellenberg, and he forced a travel against Boone. as he had to come clean to accept the pass as help was late, and Trelleborg was trying to unload. And that's 3 Blue Jay turnovers, and that's not what you want to see coming out of your second timeout.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Eric. You're in the ATO. It's fine if you have a forced error. On a play that has a chance at points, that did not, and that's definitely not what you want to see if you're Coach Baines. Let's see what Jackson Nego can do in his new role.
I got some new players in for the Blue Jays as well, which we'll get to in a moment, as Jackson Nego controls on the left side, gets the ball down to Marco Anderson, moves in on Roskowitz, now over to Funk. Hooks it over to Marco Anderson. Looks for a seam. Back out to Funk for 3. Short. Tipped away out of bounds. Yeah, it was off of Sebastian Blahut, the junior from Lake Park, 6'2 junior guard. He's also in with a freshman, number 10, Vinny Ajahong-Beta. He was at limited minutes so far this year, but Coach Baines trying to find the right mix here with a really sluggish start. Anderson up high. Over to Nego on the right. Looks for the cutter. Instead out to Funk. All alone. A deep 3, and he knocks it down.
That's exactly what you want to see out of your point guards.
Funk averaging 7 per game. He's hit that already in the first 6 minutes. The Titans now with a double-digit advantage. Blahut now on the left post. Good cut. But Trelleborg couldn't handle it. He dribbled it out of bounds.
Nick Roper with a great hand in the cookie jar, did not make contact, or even if he did, just the slightest bit to alter the trajectory of the path off the baby blue jersey as we see the Funk 3 there. And I'm always looking at the point guard play considering the storyline of this game, and Jackson Nego with a perfect pass and a perfect setup for Mason Funk.
And Nego back at the point here against Blahut. Top of the key to Anderson. Hakeem Williams looks for the attack, finds the lane, but then the ball slipped out of his hands and launches out of bounds as Jack Cherry returns for the Blue Jays. One of their freshman starters as Tegan Pearson goes to the bench. Just 2 buckets for the Blue Jays so far. They're 2 for 6 from the floor, but they've had far fewer shots because they've been out-rebounded, and they've turned it over 4 times. Roskowitz over on the right. Ajahong-Beta is for a move on Nathan Bolt, the 6'10 junior from Barrington. Blahut baseline. The help closes in. Inside. Ajahong-Beta off the backboard. No tip. 2 Titans there. Now it's Nego out to Bazell in transition. Blue Jays get back. Screen for Hakeem Williams. Flips it inside to Nathan Bolt with the right hand for 2.
Again, more great passing by the Titans no matter who's on the floor.
And they love to see a great start for Nathan Bolt. That tends to have a big impact on how he plays the rest of the way. Knocked away by Bazell. Diving effort into the front row, but unable to save it. Still the hustle you love to see.
And it's the ball pressure from the Titans that's wreaking havoc on the Blue Jays. Even if it's not a successful steal, they're forcing them outside and not allowing a ton of action on the interior.
It's 19-6. We're 7 minutes in here from Shirk Center. Malachi at the top of the key. Over on the wing to John Witcher, junior from Hudson, Wisconsin. Blahut. Bazell forces him to his left. Goes the baseline. Behind the goal. Powers it up. Left it short, but got fouled as he forced it inside and got the whistle on Trey Bazell. And that is the first foul against the Titans here in over 7 minutes. It'll lead to a pair of free throws for Blahut, the junior from Wooddale, Illinois, who is 63% at the line this year. Missed the first. Blue Jays typically a very good free throw shooting team. They do the fundamentals well, but this year just 67%. That's last in the league as Marco Anderson goes out and Harrison Williamson back in.
1 free throw.
And 1 of 2 for Blahut.
Part of that can be attributed to the younger roster, pressure on free throws.
19-7, Titans on top. Now it's Nego deep on the left to Bazell. Top of the key, Bazell dials up a long one and knocks it down. Now the Titans have 3 of the top 10 three-point shooters in efficiency this year in the CCIW, and he is one of them as they increase the lead. And Malachi off target on that one. Bazell the rebound for Wesleyan, up by 15 here early. On the right side, Joaquin Williams into the corner to Inigo. Around the horn to Bizel. He is covered here. Puts a move on Witcher, and then as he spun, he dribbled it out of bounds. And we'll see Mason Funk and Josh Fridman come back in, replacing Inigo and Bolt.
Going back to that Malachi 3, he's over 4 on the season with that miss. Trailing by 15 midway through the first half. If you're coming back in this game, it's by taking smart shots, and that was not one of them.
Blahout at the point, goes baseline on Akeem Williams all the way, missed it. Wilmson has the rebound for Illinois Wesleyan. Fridman, who got his first start today, up top to Wilmson. Moves right, flips it over to Akeem Williams. Back to Wilmson, backing down on his man, blocking foul as he caught Malachi backpedaling. And the junior, Jaden Malachi, picks up his first foul. Actually, that's his second. He has both fouls for the Blue Jays.
We haven't seen a ton of whistles, just 3 combined fouls with that infraction. And this is all created on this last possession by the off-ball action from Illinois Wesleyan, causing a defensive basket case for the Blue Jays.
They got that one before the shot, so it'll be an inbound for Fridman. Overhead pass into Akeem Williams. Moves in on his man. Nice pull-up off the back of the rim, no good. Ajahong Beta got the rebound for the Blue Jays, who have just 2 field goals so far in over 8 minutes. Ajahong Beta against Funk. Had his pocket pick, diving effort. Funk kept it alive. Roper one-on-one. Roper glides past his man and couldn't finish. Well, we were getting ready for another Sports Center type move there by Roper. Didn't quite get the finish as he was able to cut inside on his defender. And we have a couple more new players in for the Blue Jays. Nishat Dalipi, a 6'6 senior from Westmont, Illinois, who takes the inbound. Trellenberg is back in for the Blue Jays. It's 22-7, Elmhurst trailing. High dribble there for Blahout, nearly lost it. Dalipi over to Cherry. Cherry off of the pick. Baseline on Fridman, looks for the post up into the paint. Kicks it out. Dalipi for 3, short. Offensive rebound, they'll reset.
First goal board for the Blue Jays today.
Double down on Witcher. Dalipi will try it again, and he sticks the free throw jumper. And that's their first 2-point basket of the afternoon. 22-9. Titans on top. Nice backdoor to Funk from Akeem Williams for 2 points. They've been quite the tandem here today.
It's 20-20 vision for the Titans over the first 10 minutes of this game.
Funk now with 9, and the Titans lead 24-9. Well, they tried the same thing, a backdoor that I think went between the legs of Roper. Trellenberg with a fadeaway, no good, but he drew the foul against Roper. And Trellenberg will go to the line for 2. Coming off a 22-point performance in their win against Wheaton a week ago yesterday. Averaging 17 points per game this year. Good for 4th best in the conference as he back rims the first. A 72% free throw shooter. Taken Pearson is back in, along with Aiden Boone. And Carlo Kolak is in for the first time for the Titans. 6'5" junior from New Trier High School. And one more free throw here for Trellenberg from Nazareth Academy. He splits those 2.
Elmhurst 2-of-4 from the free throw line. Got to be better if you want to come back.
Finally in double figures as we hit the midway mark and half. Funk unloads a shovel pass into a double team to Wilmson. Kolak on the drive, tried to thread it in. But the Titans maybe getting a little too cute underneath the bucket there as they connect on one pass and end up with a turnover.
Yeah, Kolak got caught with an 11th hour decision there. He thought about the reverse layup, saw Williamson standing there, and at the end of the day decided to pass it through traffic. Didn't work out.
Titans up by 14 as Pearson gets it across. Fridman fights through a pick. Dalipi on the left to Trellenberg. Right-hand dribble. Swings to the left side. Dalipi looks to go baseline. Now to Boone. 8 to shoot. Witcher right side. Flips it inside. Pearson got past one man. Double clutches and drew the foul. And that's going to be 2 on Nick Roper as he got him on back-to-back trips. So he'll sit for a while. At least they've got some time to burn here with a 14-point lead. And Hakeem Williams going to the scorer's table as Tegan Pearson goes to the line. And the fifth-year man, grad student from Westchester, gets his 4th point. 7th best in the league in free throw shooting at 84%. Wilmson joins Roper on the bench. Marco Anderson back in. 2 for 2 for Pearson.
And Roper's played 8 of the 11 and change so far in this game. So we'll have to see how this Titan operation works without him.
Blue Jays showing him what looks like a 1-2-2. Top of the key. Fridman for 3. Spins out and tapped out of bounds by Witcher. Illinois Wesleyan will keep possession. You got to believe Coach Baines is looking as their moment to get this game a lot closer with Roper out, possibly for the rest of the half.
And given a switch to a zone, if I'm Illinois Wesleyan, you let that ball fly. 3-pointers are going to be available to you left, right, and center.
And they go inside to Kolak, who banks it off the backboard for 2. As he gets his first bucket off the bench. And the Titans have returned to a 14-point advantage. Pearson, a hard pick there, set by Booth. Tough 3 as he comes down short and missed it. Witcher's putback is off target. Back to get the way to Kolak in transition. Has to put on the brakes. Blue Jays get back. Now sitting up in the man. Fridman with a spin. Baseline. Hooks it into heavy traffic. It hit off of the rim. And a turnover to the Blue Jays. Still a 14-point lead. Witcher. DeLepe sets a screen. Boone deep on the right. Pearson up top. Off the pick. To the right. Pick and pop. Boone for 3. And it rattles out. Boone can make those, but off target there. Hakeem Williams back the other way. Into the corner, it's Kolak. Hakeem Williams, Fridman. Now Hakeem against Trellenberg. Backing down, creates some space, and it's an offensive foul. Leaned in with the left shoulder a bit much on Trellenberg. And Hakeem Williams gets his 2nd foul.
So that's 2 Titan starters with 2 fouls, still over 8 minutes until halftime. So for Elmhurst, if the door is ajar at any point for you to at least saw this, what is a 14-point margin in half, now is it.
Pearson in play to Trellenberg as the Titans set up token pressure with Jackson Nego back in, along with Troy Bazell with the guard spots. And Kolak and Funk and Anderson. Boy, Titans with a mix-up underneath, and that left Blahud all alone for 2. And they got it down to 12 at 26-14. Anderson the handoff to Funk, the give and go to Anderson for 2. 2nd bucket for Anderson. The Titans much more crisp on the offensive end here today, what Coach Rosa was hoping for with the extra time off after the finals week. The runner missed by Pearson, but they keep it alive. Blahud lines up a 3 and knocks it down. And it's down to an 11-point game at 28-17. Funk out on top. Nego into the corner. Kolak threw it into heavy traffic, got it back, now hemmed in and threw it away. Punched out there, Funk saves. Funk thought about the shot, thought the better of it. The lob, and he threw it wide for Anderson out of bounds. Now maybe the Blue Jays getting under the Titans' skin just a bit. Coach Rose wants a timeout, seeing some slippage here in the last few offensive trips.
Yeah, and this is a juncture in the ball game where, in all likelihood, Nick Roper's out for the rest of the half with 6:58 until the intermission. Hakeem Williams is out, both due to foul trouble. And so you're without your best guard, your best all-around guard, I'd say, in Hakeem Williams. You're without one of your best skill players in Nick Roper, 2 all-conference selections for the next 7 minutes. And so if you're Coach Rose, you have a ton of talent. This team can run 12, 13, maybe even 14 deep if they have to. but it's just about getting this next unit calm, cool, and collected while they wait for Roper and Hakeem Williams to return. And part of it is having good chemistry on the offensive end. The Titans have 9 assists. That is a very, very good number at this point in the basketball game. So it's keep doing that. Don't try and do too much. We might see them slow down a hair, not too much, because their speed game has been effective. However, at the end of the day, it's working the time and just trying to be efficient with your possessions.
And it looks like they have been not only quick but rushed a bit in their last couple of trips, and they have now accumulated 6 turnovers in this first half as they still lead by 11. But the Blue Jays perhaps sensing a comeback as Blahut rolls off at the pick, set by Boone. They go around the horn here. Inside Trelleborg, the turnaround that he hit it over Carlo Kolak. And he has 6. And it's down to a 9-point game. Titans have been up by as many as 15 in this one. Anderson against Boone. Funk had the great start. Top of the key, threw it in heavy traffic, and Pearson got the steal, slips, and then he gives it back. Titans with the numbers. Kolak Euro steps inside and goes off the backboard, but drew contact. And the foul here against Boone. And that'll give Kolak a chance for a couple of free throws. The first foul on Boone, and the third team foul.
And that's a play. That's a play in which we talked about it pregame on how the switch from Fridman to Nigo could be beneficial for both parties. Jackson Nigo's calling card last year was being a nuisance on the floor, giving possessions to Illinois Wesleyan. He did that just there.
First free throw of the day for the Titans. No good there for Kolak. He is 79% at the line this year, scoring about 6 per game off of the bench. And the Titans as a team are at 68%, and Kolak gets 1 of 2. His 3rd point today. And it's back to double digits as Pearson brings it up against Trey Bazell. Pearson off a pair of screens. Picked up by Marco Anderson. Deep out to Blahut. Adjahong Beta. Boone, top of the key to Pearson. 8 to shoot. Pearson far out, goes up, steps into a 3 and hits. Taking Pearson's 2nd tray today. Averaging 15 points per game, and he's got Elmhurst within 7. Nigo threw it away as he and Bolt got mixed up. Bolt cut in, and another turnover, and Coach Rose bringing Nick Roper back in with 2 fouls, something he seldom does in the first half. But feeling this healthy lead slipping away.
At this point, Coach Rose has to put a stopgap on this rush from Elmhurst, riding an 8-1 run over the last 2 minutes.
And using Roper as a wing on the 3-2 zone that they employ for the first time here today. Blahut top of the key. Swings it out. Pearson, the kick out. Blahut jacks up a 3 and hits. Well, they made him pay for it. Blahut now with a 9. And that's a 4-point game. Approaching 5 minutes until the break. Hand off to Bazell. Left wing Fridman. Bolt kicked it. Loose near midcourt. Nice effort by Bolt to save it, but does so to the Blue Jays. 3-on-2. Out to Boone. Thought about the 3. Titans got back well. Now Blahut with the sidestep, and he really got toppled by Nick Roper. Wrong place, wrong time for Nick, who now has his 3rd foul. A gamble for the Titans to bring Nick back in with the 2 fouls, and he's definitely done for the half with his 3rd foul. And Shane Miller, the senior from Springfield, comes in.
Yeah, that for Roper being his 3rd foul, that's definitely not good. However, the Titans were way overcommitted on that transition opportunity for Elmhurst, so it works out in that regard, but losing your All-American due to that is not worth it.
Yeah, Blahut blows past uncontested for the layup. And boy, have the tables turned here in the last 5 minutes or so. Illinois Wesleyan was romping to a 15-point lead. But since then, it's been an 18-5 run by the Blue Jays, and I think we knew it was coming, but it came quick.
Yeah, when you have Williams and Roper both on the bench in foul trouble, it's an opportunity both physically and mentally for the opposition to come back. However, when it rains, it pours for the Elmhurst Blue Jays, and I'm sure Coach Rose did not expect it to happen this fast, and part of the reason has been just ill-advised turnovers. We've seen a lot of action on the ground, literally, for Illinois Wesleyan. Their actions haven't been as crisp over the last 5 minutes, and it's just been sloppy on the offensive side, something that we might be used to seeing from the onset of a basketball game, but we thought that was said and done when they led by 15 with 10 minutes left in this half. And now if you're Coach Rose, it's about keeping your composure. It's what can you do to slow this Elmhurst train down, and it's simple. Number 1, take care of the basketball. Number 2, take smart shots. And number 3, communicate on the offensive side, because the last thing you want is to give Elmhurst more transition buckets. They have no fast break points. However, they're able to turn those transition opportunities into solid possessions out of the half court. Illinois Wesleyan with 7 fast break points. We saw that a lot early, but they've been relatively quiet since then.
And Nick Roper out for the rest of the half, has played just 9 minutes so far, and he'll no doubt be a marked man when he comes back out in the second half with those 3 personals, as the Blue Jays have it within 2 for the first time since, well, 2-0. Well, it's 4-3 at one point. Now Josh Fridman will bring it up with the tight pressure from Blahut. A one-man press, and he got a little too handsy, but he picks up his first foul. That's 4 on the Blue Jays, who weren't getting a lot of fouls because they weren't playing very intense defense, which is not a John Baines trademark, but they've certainly locked down here lately.
Freshman in his first start, one-on-one. I'd take that any day of the week, and a bailout for Illinois Wesleyan.
Fridman gets it across now to Shane Miller. Miller to the baseline. Had it blocked. Boone kept it alive. Now Pearson comes away with it for the Blue Jays. Blahut to the baseline, swings it back out. Trellenberg, Boone, head fake. Boone with a step, maybe an extra step, and got blocked and fouled. And they're looking at this opportunity now to find some dribble penetration with a Roper out, and that's going to be the second on Trey Bazell.
Elmhurst has never led in this ball game, and a chance to tie at the line.
Boone is 60% free throw shooter. Got all the rim on that one. Averaging 9 points per game. Close to 6 rebounds per contest. Now for the tie. And the first one since the ref put the ball in the air. It's 29 apiece. Just over 4 minutes to go. A 15-point lead has vanished. Anderson with a tough handoff there to Fridman. Fridman shovels it into the post and knocked away by Boone out of bounds. Titans keep midway through the shot clock as Mason Funk and Harrison Wilmson return. Marco Anderson and Nathan Bolt to go to the bench.
Funk, the leading scorer for the Titans today. Let's see if he can reignite this unit.
Bazell in the corner. Mason out deep. 6 to shoot. Funk steps into a 3, and there it is. What do you want to call in the next trip?
Hopefully a stop.
Well, yeah. We'll take that. 3 ball by Funk gives him double figures, and the Titans have a 3-point lead as Blahut shuffles baseline around Funk, and the block by the help defender Trey Bazell. Well, the Blue Jays have been a tremendous shot blocking team in the last couple of years. Titans have been the top team this year as Boone taps it out of bounds. Well, officials confer, and they pointed to the Blue Jays. They're going to confer, and I think they're going to...
That should go to White.
I think that was just pointing in the wrong direction by accident. So Titans keep it here at 32-29. Well, the Blue Jays were a tremendous shot blocking team because Jonathan Zapinski blocked everything in his zip code. But now the Titans are the top shot blocking team in the league because of Funk, Trey Bazell, and a number of others. Nick Roper, you name it. Now foul here coming against the Blue Jays on Trellenberg. That's only their 5th foul. Overhead pass into Bazell on the wing. Over to Funk. Back to Bazell. Top of the key, Wilmson. The weave to Miller. Miller with the jab step. Left of the lane, the spin. The double clutch, knifing inside, the scoop and the score for the senior, Shane Miller.
That's crafty for Shane Miller. He's one of the guys that could easily revamp this offense in a time of duress.
He's 6 for 7 from the floor coming in. He's been a spark when he's had minutes, and boy, is he a spark on defense now, giving all kinds of pressure to Tegan Pearson as the Blue Jays want a timeout. He is instant energy off the bench, and for a team that brought the energy early, it was starting to lag there for a few minutes.
That, and you have Mason Funk coming in, immediately hits a three. Shane Miller with the deuce up and under. And then on the defensive side, when you start to lose a lead, and eventually you do lose it, we were tied at 29, you have to pick up your energy when you have it. This is a game of momentum. Imagine a seesaw. When the seesaw is at its maximum, you have to get it back to even keel. The Titans lost it entirely, and through the play of Mason Funk and Shane Miller and everybody else, they're able to at least grab a hold of it again, and let's see if they can keep their foot on the gas with 2 minutes and 49 seconds until halftime.
And even though the Blue Jays erased that big deficit in such a short amount of time, really about 6 minutes of game action, it is still hard to sustain that for the remaining 25 to 30 minutes of a basketball game, and maybe the Titans have their second wind as they've scored 5 straight, and Tegan Pearson will inbound.
But it's always in the back of the mind of the Titans. If a team's able to go on a quick run, you know they're capable of it. So you know that you have to take care of business until it's all said and done.
Titans show zone here, the 3-2, they into the shot clock. Trying to slow them down here with limited time of the clock. Blahut will cut inside, has a seam. The dish, did they get it off in time? Yes, but it was an air ball, so to go as a shot clock violation.
Right idea, but like you mentioned, Eric, working with limited time, you have to be quick with your action. They took that a second or a second and a half too late. Forced Alipi, or check that, forced Boone to rush the shot there.
Looking at Trellenberg, maybe got nicked.
Yeah, he was the one who called timeout a few minutes ago. He also had some elbow issues when Nick Roper came over for his third foul. Flew over him and got him a little bit on that elbow area, so he has to come out of the game for the moment.
Yeah, he'll get that cleaned up. And Jaden Malachi, who sat with his second early foul, well rested as he returns. But again, 2 fouls for their starting big man. And the Titans looking to build on a 5-point lead as they grab the momentum back. Thridman on the right side with a shuffling dribble. Pull-up jumper, knocks it down. His second basket of the afternoon. It is first start as a Titan. And the Titans lead by 7. Malachi out high. They give him all the room he wants. Unloads. Blahut with a spin on Fridman. The double clutch. The leaner. Double clutch. Missed it. Tipped up. Wilmson tipped it up. Almost knocked it in. Boone there to clean it up and score for the Blue Jays.
Good pressure from Elmhurst, but also good defense by Fridman on that last possession.
That's Boone's first field goal. Crossover dribble by Fridman. Takes it deep. And what a great move by Fridman to get his defender on skates and take it down deep, and picks up the foul. And Josh Fridman will go to the line. The second foul on Blahut, number 6 on the Blue Jays.
Malachi with 2, Blahut with 2. So fouls are starting to rack up. We didn't have a ton of whistles early on in this ball game, but looking at personal fouls, that's the 13th combined. So it's definitely racking up as this half rolls along, and we'll have to see how foul trouble plays a role when we get down the stretch with it being a 5-point affair.
Yeah, it's been condensed. Okay, so they're going to replay review to see if that was a goaltend, and we'll certainly take the 2 extra points if they wish to add those on. They have that capability at the scorer's table, and this is only at the official's discretion if they wish to review it. This for all CCIW games, those schools that have that capability, as they do here at Shirk Center. And it's always helpful when they can explain to the fans what they are reviewing. They have decided not to consider it a goaltend, and Josh Fridman will shoot 2 free throws here for the Titans. He's an 80% free throw shooter coming in, averaging 8 points per game off the bench. He has 5 here today. As Blahut leaves with the 2 fouls. And freshman Jack Cherry is back in. Rattling out and back in for Fridman. And the lead back to 7 As Trellenberg, all cleaned up, is back in for the Blue Jays, and Malachi goes back to the bench for John Baines' team. Trellenberg against Funk. Titans go back to the man-to-man. Pearson pressured by Miller. Comes around to pick. Back out. Here's Boone for three, and he knocks it down. A 32% three-point shooter. His first one today. And it's down to a 4-point difference. Into the corner, it's Miller. Out high to Funk. Back over to Miller. Looks it over on the wing. Takes off, has the seam, flips it inside to Wilmson. Couldn't finish, and he got fouled. Or just a bit off the mark on the layup, challenged by Pearson.
Harrison Wilson, free throw line.
And Harrison Wilmson now steps to the line. The first foul on Pearson. And both teams with 7 in this first half. Wilmson 67% at the line this year. Averaging about 9 points per game and good on the first. Jackson Ego back in. Josh Friedman, the freshman, goes out.
Since that Roper third foul, the Titans have kept it disciplined.
And they've actually increased their lead. It was 4 at the time, and now it's 6 as Wilmson exits with those 2 free throws. And Marco Anderson back in with just over a minute left till the break. Cherry against Nigo. Looks for a seam. Into the corner, Witcher, a fading 3. Shot it long. Cherry got a hand on it, got challenged by Funk. And Mason Funk got the reach in. And it's a bonus situation for the Blue Jays. First foul on Funk. Now with 56 seconds to go in the half, freshman Jack Cherry, an 82% free thrower, has a 1 in bonus. The Blue Jays are 6 for 8 at the stripe here today.
Free throws have not been an issue for either side. That makes it 7 of 9 for the Blue Jays. The Titans 5 of 6. However, one stat I want to point out, and we'll dissect this more in about a minute, is shot volume. That has definitely increased for the Blue Jays since they went on their massive run from 10 to 5 minutes in this half.
1 of 2 for Cherry, and Miller gets the rebound. Titans up by handful as Nigo scampers across. Now to Miller. Miller looking for the fade. He'll scoot baseline, cross-courts it, and throws it away. Trying to spot an open man in the corner.
And the second Nigo drove down the right lane line, that forced the rest of the offense to shift one spot to the left, because logically his easier passing lane is going to be in the near side of the court, and there was nobody where he wanted to go, which was for a corner 3.
40-35, about a 10-second difference between the two clocks as Trellenberg gives off to Cherry. Cherry out high to Witcher. Trades places with Boone. Boone with a step, got past his man and lays it in. Boone has been quite a spark for them late in this half, now with 9 points. He's had 3 buckets here down the stretch. And now the shot clock is off for the Titans. Nigo hands off to Miller and a reach in on Pearson. He was looking for the strip and score on the other end. And Pearson picks up his second foul.
That's critical.
That's about 30 feet away from the bucket. Instead, it gives the Titans a 1 in bonus here for Shane Miller. First free throws of the year for the 6'1 senior. Jaden Malachi back in for Boone with 5.9 seconds left. So they'll get one more shot here.
Elmhurst only has 2 players that average in double figures. Pearson's one of them.
Miller is good in the first. He's had 3 points off the bench. Titans playing without David Williams as he got hurt in the Carroll game last week. Missed his first practice in 3 years this week. He has been an Iron Man for the Titans, and they hope to get him back soon. Second free throw is good. So it's back to a 5-point game at 42-37. And the Titans will set up pressure full court. As Trellenberg will run the end line to Cherry at midcourt. Cherry a spin. Cherry lost the basketball. Miller picks it up. And that shot is well short as the first half comes to a close. A game in which the Titans appeared to dominate. They won the first half of the first half, led by 15 points. Blue Jays erased it by about the 4-minute mark, but the Titans with a strong finish to the half, 13-8, as they maintain a 5-point lead at the intermission.
If we broke this game down into quarters, first quarter Illinois Wesleyan, second quarter Elmhurst by a lot. Like you mentioned, Eric, a 15-point lead for Illinois Wesleyan at the 10-minute mark, entirely erased. But the good news for Illinois Wesleyan is when a team goes on a massive run like that, it's important that the team that conceded the run is able to maintain some sort of an advantage heading into the locker room. Now, the message from Coach Rose and his staff has got to be, we can't allow an avalanche like that, because at this point, as the clock continues to tick and as opportunities become more scarce, you cannot allow the Blue Jays to go on that type of a heater. However, you can attribute a lot of that run to some ill-advised Titan mistakes. They were without Hakeem Williams and Nick Roper for the better part of that half due to foul trouble. They'll get at least Williams back from the jump in the second half. I'm not sure what Coach Rose is going to do with Roper, considering he has 3 fouls. You certainly don't want him picking up number 4 in the infant stages of the second half, but they seem to have done well without him since Elmhurst tied the game at 29.
42-37, Illinois Wesleyan with the lead here at the break. When we come back, we'll look at the first half stats. We'll look at other CCIW action, which happened 24 hours ago. A win for the Illinois Wesleyan women as well. And our halftime spotlight presented by Will Square Capital. That is coming up after this timeout. 42-37, Titans on top over the Blue Jays. This is Titan Basketball on IWSports.com.
OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute has been named one of the top hospital systems in the country for heart care. This prestigious award by the American College of Cardiology comes from our commitment to providing the highest quality of care, from general cardiology to complex surgeries and the latest technology. Nationally recognized heart care right here. OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute.
Here at Shirk Center at Illinois Wesleyan University on IWSports.com. Eric Stock here with Matt Sossler and our crew here at Shirk Center. Caleb Himes, Lola Avila, Nicole Duma, and Tyler Wilson. As the Titans here with a 42-37 advantage. Preserving a Legacy, our halftime segment sponsored by Will Square Capital, puts a spotlight on the rich history of Illinois Wesleyan basketball and the student athletes that have built this strong tradition of success. And today we look back at the career of former Titan great Sean Johnson. A native of Washington, Illinois, and a graduate of Washington High School, Johnson played in 111 games for the Titans from 2007 until 2011. He scored 1,583 points, dished out 330 assists while grabbing 311 rebounds. He ranks 4th in program history with 238 made three-pointers, 10th in scoring, and 11th in assists. Johnson was a 3-time All-CCIW selection for Illinois Wesleyan, earning 3rd team as a freshman, 2nd team honors in his junior and senior seasons, a co-captain of the 2010-2011 squad. Johnson was voted the team's co-MVP twice, and he was as good a clutch shooter as you will ever see. Johnson graduated from Illinois Wesleyan with a degree in business administration, and currently he serves as the head of operations for Snapback Sports. And fun fact, he was Ron Rose's first recruit at Illinois Wesleyan in his first season. Sean Johnson, our Preserving a Legacy Spotlight, presented by Will Square Capital. Here the Titans up 42-37 against the Elmhurst Blue Jays. And typically it's part of a doubleheader, but the women played yesterday and got a big victory against the Blue Jays, 93-56. And I guess as well as the Titan men started their game today, the Blue Jays, or rather the women, did it in reverse yesterday, started slow, and boy, they found their groove come the second quarter.
Exactly. They trailed 18-16 at the end of the first quarter, something you really don't see from this Titan squad, and then fear the second 10, indeed. Their most dominant quarter all season continued that trend, 31-8 in the second quarter, followed up by a 28-12 third quarter, and then even fourth quarter with a lot of reserves in at 18 apiece. A fantastic all-around performance. Look at some of the key numbers. Kate Palmer and Lauren Huber, who you see on your screen, back row, second from the right, also with 14 points, and then two people down from her, Mallory Powers, 12 points. Ava Bardick, front row to the left with 9 points. Katie Knudsen, another stout game. Sierra Steamer, one of the new posts for Elmhurst, was a problem early, but Knudsen quickly made that a non-issue. And then the great thing about yesterday, when you look at the Titan turnaround, is that they have University of Chicago on Tuesday. That's not an easy break from yesterday until Tuesday, and the fact that they were able to play their entire roster and almost everybody had points in meaningful minutes is huge. So the Titans should be well rested for Tuesday's contest against UFC here at the Shirk Center. Luigi Lamb, the freshman, 13 minutes, finished with 8 points. Martha Lippick, a career high in rebounds, and was the team leading rebounder. She notched 7 boards. So an all-around good outing for Maya Smith, Brian Ayersman, and the Illinois Wesleyan Titan women, who remain perfect in conference play heading into the holiday break.
And I think that matchup with Chicago on Tuesday night here at Shirk will be low-key one of the best matchups in Division III women's basketball this year, with both teams off to 9-0 starts. And I'm wondering if Chicago, coached by Michelle Beela-Gardner, Illinois Wesleyan and Maya Smith alum, if they're going to petition to join the CCIW, because they have 5 wins against CCIW teams. They've run the gauntlet this year against the CCIW, so that should be a terrific matchup. And
they got a chance to add another one to their portfolio on Tuesday. However, they have yet to play the top team in the CCIW, Illinois Wesleyan. So it'll be good to see that game, because also the Titans, similar to the Titan men, perfect through the initial non-conference slate, but you could say that some of their hardest non-conference games are coming up. University of Chicago, they go down to Texas Trinity, and East Texas Baptist won't be easy before they re-enter CCIW play. You see Sarah Bali and Sawyer White. Sawyer White chasing 200 steals, so tune into the broadcast or head out to Shirk Center on Tuesday. She's at 196, needs 4 thefts to accomplish 200 steals, a rare club amongst the Titan women, which you wouldn't expect to say considering how they run their defense.
And she'll probably have that by the end of the first quarter. Well, that should be a great matchup against Chicago, and another great non-conference game here on Thursday when the Titan men welcome the number 2 team in the country in Washington University, another unbeaten. That should be a great matchup here at Shirk Center in their final game before Christmas. In CCIW men's play yesterday, Carthage won at Augustana 82-70. North Park is still unbeaten in the league. They're the first to 3-0 as they won at Wheaton 78-75. And North Central on a layup by Ethan Hellwig with 5 seconds to go. Yes, he's still playing at North Central. His 6th season. They beat Carroll 68-66. So some good matchups in the CCIW yesterday. North Park is still on top of 3-0. Carthage at 2-0. North Central now 2-1. And a log jam behind them with Illinois Wesleyan and Elmhurst, along with Milliken, all 1-1 at this early stage in the season.
And you didn't mention Carroll at 0-3. That layup by Hellwig, I mentioned it earlier. You can't win anything in December. You can certainly lose a lot in December, and Carroll being winless heading into the holiday break, they have a lot to work on as they head into the new calendar year if they want a shot at even playing in the CCIW tournament. Otherwise, meaningful games for them, at least that impacts them, maybe far and few between as we head down the line.
And they certainly had their opportunities against the Titans 8 days ago with a lead late.
All three. They had a chance against North Park, they had a chance against Illinois Wesleyan, and clearly with an opportunity against North Central. But that's why it's not about if you lose by 2 or lose by 22. It's about if you're able to come away with a W or come away with an L.
Margins are so close in this league. Margins less so if you are in the CCIW football conference. That's because North Central just steamrolls everybody, and that does not change when they step out of the league, as they beat Springfield yesterday 27-3 to move on to the Division III quarterfinals. And things set up reasonably well for them in the final 2 games as they play Susquehanna University of Pennsylvania this coming Saturday in Mount Union, and Johns Hopkins opposite the bracket next weekend.
We had chaos in the quarterfinals, but as it typically happens in D3 football, everything comes back to Naperville and Alliance, Ohio, and that's what it'll be in the semifinals. And talking about the North Central Springfield game for just a second here, when you play against Springfield, you have 3 choices. Stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. They are the most textbook triple option team in the entire United States. They run it more than Army and Navy does, and in order to do that, you have to have your eyes right, you have to be fundamentally sound, and despite or getting ejected for North Central due to targeting, they were able to be fundamentally defensively sound, which is something that the reigning national champion SUNY Cortland was unable to accomplish. They fell to Springfield and resulted in the Pride heading out to North Central for yesterday's game. But semifinal against Susquehanna, that should be a favorable matchup for the Cardinals, and then it's in the Stag Bowl, likely against Mount Union, but don't sleep on Johns Hopkins. They're always a great program.
Well, you got to have one of the purple powers still left, and it is Mount Union this year. Could be a throwback. They had a tremendous playoff game a number of years ago between they and the Cardinals, and could be setting up that way again this year, though it would be for the championship.
The intriguing thing before we go to break is, will Illinois Wesleyan have the closest margin of victory against the Cardinals this year? If you're a Titan fan, that keeps the rest of D3 football season at the front of your mind.
As of now, they do. 42-37. Titan men lead the Blue Jays of Elmhurst, and we'll get set for the second half when we come back after this timeout. This is Illinois Wesleyan Titan basketball on IWSports.com.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Funk has matched a career high.
42-37 our score here at Shirk Center. The Titans are up by 5, led by as many as 15 in the first half in this game of CCIW rivals. The Titans were the conference champs in the regular season last year. Blue Jays won the conference tournament here at Shirk Center last February. A reminder that on the road you can still catch the Titans. We have the radio call on 88.1 FM. Typically, we don't during the winter break, but you can always catch the audio link at IWSports.com. It is easy enough to sync to the home team's video. You may have to pause it a second or two to line it up, but even for a non-techie like myself, it's not that hard to figure out. You can catch that for not only the men, but also for the women, as these two teams make separate treks to Texas after Christmas.
Yeah, the Titan men, the Torno, Mary Hardin Baylor, that'll be in Dallas. Titan women heading to San Antonio, taking on Trinity and East Essex Baptist. But you can't look past UAA week. Titans against Chicago for the women and against WashU for the men.
Mike Wagner's going to be logging in the miles in the rental car going between those two Texas. He'll be doing the Texas two-step down there after Christmas to make sure that he's in on all the action and all the alumni events and whatnot that'll be going on down in the Lone Star State. And I understand that a tour of AT&T Stadium is on the agenda. Hopefully they can keep the roof from caving in while we're down there.
It's a football trip for both Titan teams. Titan men, like you mentioned, the tour of AT&T Stadium. Titan women will take in Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes in the Alamo Bowl against Jake Retzlaff, Saloni Tataki and company, and the BYU Cougars. A good new fashion, I should say, Big 12 battle in the Alamo Bowl.
Well, that will be a blast, and I'll get to see the Heisman Trophy winner as well.
Travis Hunter. It should be a good game, potentially top 10 pick. Should Sanders be a fantastic football game.
All right, so now we're ready for the second half. Illinois Wesleyan up by 5. Nick Roper is back in with his 3 fouls, and Hakeem Williams, who was saddled with 2 fouls in the first half, that limited him to just 10 minutes. He's also back out there as Tegan Pearson triggers the ball in play, and here we go. Titans in their home white, but they're 2-1 at home this year. Blue Jays winless on the road this year in 3 outings. Now Malachi on the left to Trellenberg as he cuts in, got away with a push, tees it up to Cherry for 3, and knocks it down. They were 6 of 12 from 3 in that first half, and they heated up, and that made it close, down to a 2-point game now. At 42-40, Funk had the great start with 12 points. Hooks it out to Wilmson for 3, and he answers. That's 5 for Harrison Wilmson, who had a quiet first half. Did not attempt a field goal, in fact. Settled for just 2 free throws. So it's back to a 5-point difference as Malachi unloads. Now it's Cherry up top. Trellenberg moves in on Roper, tries to get the 4th. Back out to Boone, arches a 3, rattles out. Wilmson off the miss. Josh Fridman, good start for him. His first start as a Titan, had 6 points and a half. Roper, baseline. Back out to Wilmson with a head fake. Try to get Trellenberg airborne. Bulldozes inside, gets the finish, and the foul. Well, he got the 3-point shot. Now the conventional 3-point opportunity for the Titan senior from St. Louis Mo.
Look at that good ball fake, and this is all set up by Nick Roper not finishing his drive. If Roper has less than 3 fouls, I think he takes it all the way to the 10, but setting up an opportunity for Williamson, and if he can play in the entirety of the half court, that's going to be a problem for Elmhurst.
Williamson with 6 points in the last 2 trips to push the lead up to 8 at 48-40 as Trellenberg carries it across. Malachi, the handoff. Pearson draws the double inside to Malachi. Rejected by Wilmson, out of bounds. Still Blue Jay ball. And the Titans lead the league in shot blocks at 5 per game. And they've got multiple guys that have been able to do that. Trellenberg, a long 2 off the rim. Extending the rebound there for Hakeem Williams. Behind the back to Funk. Funk on Boone. Got past him and lays it in with the right hand over his shoulder for 2. A career high for the sophomore from University High School in Normal. 50-40, Titans on top.
Just what the doctor ordered for Illinois Wesleyan coming out of the break.
8 straight after an early 3 for the Blue Jays. Titans had the big start early in the game. And Trellenberg answers with a 3 up top. He has 9. 50-43. Blue Jays down. Fridman with a step on Cherry. Baseline pushes it up. And Boone rebounds. Now to Cherry. Ran into trouble there with Funk. Had to unload. Cherry puts a move on Funk. Forces him to unload. Cherry looks for a post up instead. Jacks it up and knocks it down for the right wing. Cherry just 1 for 7 from deep coming in. It's hit 2 since halftime. Hakeem on the attack. Gets the end 1 as he knocks it down, and Pearson picks up his 3rd foul.
It's been the name of the game for the Titans. If Elmhurst lets it fly from deep, what the Titans did so well in the Jack Sigma invite that led to 2 ranked wins is they attacked the basket. They sort of got away from that over the last couple of weeks, but now we see them showing no fear as they drive into the lane in Elmhurst. A lot of players in foul trouble as a result.
You get the 3rd foul on Jaden Malachi as Akeem Williams goes back to the line. He's 68% at the stripe this year, now with 6 points. And long on this one. Pulled down by Trellenberg. Still a 6-point lead for the green and white. Blahout, stop and go baseline. Tried to get it around. Bazell left it short, tapped out of bounds. Good D by Akeem Williams to force the miss. And it goes out to Wesleyan.
That's great tandem defense. There's a lot of teach tape happening in this game, both what to do and both what not to do. And the thing that the Titans exhibit, and they're one of the best at it in college basketball, just because he's not your assignment doesn't mean you can't come in and make a play, and a great job by Hakeem there.
Hakeem pressured by Blahout, comes off the screen. Baseline to Anderson. Back out to Hakeem. Shuffling baseline, picked up by Boone on the switch. Back out to Fridman. Fridman with a step, baseline, floats it up and in. Boy, a crafty player Josh Fridman proving to be, as he has 8. And that's the margin here for Wesleyan. Blahout out to Boone. Threw it wide, and Trellenberg cut to the basket. Ball thrown behind him, and Cherry couldn't get to it in time.
And no one cherry picking it that time around, and now the Titans with a chance to continue to expand their lead.
Led by as many as 15 of the first half, but it's been tight ever since. Blue Jays have never led. Fridman into the paint. I thought about backdoor to Funk. Funk knifes inside and can't get the roll. And Boone takes it away for the Blue Jays.
Mismatch.
There's Boone up top. Over to Trellenberg. Gets a step on Akeem Williams. Draws the triple team, and they collapse on him and knock him to the floor. This one's going to go against Mason Funk. His second, team's first of the half.
Of all the Titans in that scrum, I'm sure Funk can go over to the ref and say, I did it. I had the least amount of fouls amongst the group there. But that's a result. The Titans were out of whack defensively. We saw a mismatch, had 5-on-1, 1-on-5, and at that point, it's do whatever you can to try and prevent a field goal.
Yeah, Bazell and Akeem Williams both with multiple fouls, and now Funk joins them. It's Trellenberg with 9 points, 1 for 3 at the line today. He's going to come out of the game. Now Cherry's going to check out, actually, and Vinny Ajahong-Beta, the freshman from Moline, Illinois, is in. 54-47, Wesleyan on top. Funk backdoor and through the hands of Akeem Williams out of bounds.
Curious substitutions by Coach Baines. Trellenberg and Cherry have both been solid players in the second half for him. So let's see if the Titans can take advantage, or on the other side, if Elmhurst is able to keep their foot on the gas.
Fridman gambling in the steal, didn't get it. Instead, he got his first foul. And the team's second. Nick Roper on the bench with 3 fouls. Came in for a quick cup of coffee before he went back to the bench in the second half. Only played 9 minutes of the first half because of those fouls. Did have a highlight reel dunk when he was out there. Now it's Trellenberg at the top of the key. Back to Ajahong-Beta. Steps into a three-pointer. Wide left. Hakeem Williams tracks down the miss. Cross court to Bazell. Bazell on the wing. Shows the rock. Back out to Hakeem. Moves on Witcher to the glass and in. Well, he has become so good at finishing at the bucket off dribble penetration. It takes strength to do that because you expect you're going to get fouled. Even if it doesn't get called, you're going to get fouled. You got to be able to finish. And he's really made that great stride from his sophomore to junior, senior seasons.
It's pride, it's poise, it's control on those drives. Like you said, Eric, there's going to be contact, whether it draws a whistle or not. And if you're any driver you have to be ready to keep control of the basketball, because the last thing you want is a no call and you don't even get a shot attempt off. And Williams is not only good at getting a shot attempt off to at least give his teammates a chance at a rebound, but just the poise that he is able to have to ensure that he's able to just keep the play as he intends. And honestly, on that last play, I thought he thought about a dunk based on his alignment and his angle to the rim. However, once contact ensues, that all goes away. But that's why this Titan team can be so successful. It's because of players like Hakeem Williams who do a lot that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Everyone has their players that average 15, 18 points a game, but not a ton of teams have guys who are willing to fill in those holes.
Hakeem Williams, you could certainly make a case last year for being the MOP for Illinois Wesleyan last year. It ended up going to Jonathan Zapinski, also a very deserving honoree, but just kind of a glue guy for this Titan team who is doing it again here this year. 8 points for the senior from Round Lake, Illinois. Blue Jays are down to just 2 timeouts as they call this one down by 9. And the sluggish start to the half for them as Nishad Dalipi is back in, along with the Tegan Pearson. Blahut at the top. Now to Trellenberg. Puts a move on to Hakeem Williams. Pearson comes clean on the baseline. Out to Ajahong Beta. Trellenberg had his pocket pick. There's Hakeem Williams again, leading the break down the middle spots. Bazell for 3. Short. Trellenberg tried to dribble out of traffic and ran into it. I got fouled by Fridman. That's going to be Josh's second foul and the team's third. And they've got the full court to go.
Allows the Titans to reset.
Ajahong Beta off the inbound. And the Titans will reset in the man-to-man. Nathan Bolt back in at one of the forward spots. Blahut against Fridman. On the attack. Jump step. Back out. They rotate. Pearson. He'll fade. Tough 3 from the corner, and he knocks it down right in front of the Blue Jay bench. Third tray for Pearson. He has 11. One of 3 Blue Jays in double figures. Now Anderson trying to set up the post ball. Kicked by Blahut. Now Nick Roper is back in with those 3 fouls. And Jackson Nego returns as Williams and Fridman exit. And Nego to put it in play from the baseline. Roper off the inbound. Backing down, leaning in. Up strong and scores.
Especially with 3 fouls, those are the plays that make everybody look in a little bit more, and Roper did a great job of ensuring that he only had half a man on him, kept his body to the outside of the defense to avoid a whistle being called on him.
It's his second bucket, 58-50. Trellenberg roams left, chest pass to Blahut, flips it back out. Ajahong Beta at 9, at 8. Trellenberg dials up a 3, spins out. And Marco Anderson has the carom for Illinois Wesleyan. 2 screens for Nego. Bolt, quick pass into the post. Oh, a nice scoop and score for Marco Anderson.
Trellenberg sold out for it, and Anderson made him pay.
And a good dish there by Nathan Bolt, who's had some good minutes off the bench today. Titans back up by double digits for the first time since the first half. Give and go. Dalipi hesitates, fades from 8, and gets the bounce. And the senior from Westmont gets his second bucket of the game. 60-52. Anderson fakes the pass. Now Bazell got past his man, down deep, threw it up. No, but a foul as he came bowling into Dalipi. And his first foul, third of the half. 3 fouls on both teams in this half as the senior from Fairbury will go to the line, where he's 69% on the season. Hit a 3 earlier, off the mark on this free throw attempt. Titans started well at the line, but they've leveled off a bit. Still 8 of 11. Pretty good. 73%. Bazell looks to split these and does. Carlo Kolak back in. Bazell now to the bench. A 9-point lead for Wesleyan. Both teams 1-1 in the league coming in their final conference games before January. The defending conference tournament champs against the regular season leaders from a year ago. Meeting here where they settled it last February with a Blue Jay win. And they split the regular season last year. Both home teams are winning. DeLippe throws up a three. Off the pick, no. Trellenberg got the rebound after he took it away from Kolak. Titans get a break there. Anderson up top, not a Roper. Backing down on Pearson. Goes baseline, leaning in up strong, and it's an offensive foul, and that's 4 on Nick Roper. Looked like he got Pearson backpedaling just a bit, but an extra shove there from Nick Roper will send him to the bench with 12:07 to go in the game.
And I talked about the last time Roper was on a drive, how he positioned himself on the outer half of the defender, as you just saw there, not on the outer half, right at the belly button. If the feet are set, that's going to get called every time on the offense.
He and Anderson both check out, and Harrison and Williamson, Nathan Bolt are back in. A 9-point game, 12 minutes to go. Pearson, Malachi with the pick. The handoff to Boone. Blahud on the left. Looking, trying to take off on Akeem Williams. Flips it across to Cherry. Cherry running to the baseline. Can't hit the floater. Bud drew the foul on Jackson Nego, his first. And that's 5 on the Titans here early in this second half. So Cherry now to the line.
And this is the same point in time where Elmhurst went on their massive run in the first half. Roper gets in foul trouble, relegated to the bench. Blue Jays come back down 15. It's a lot smaller of a gap now at 8 for them to overcome, but a similar storyline. Roper sent to the bench now with 4 fouls, and let's see how it plays.
Cherry coming into his own as a first semester freshman, just his third. Made 2 starts and averaging 4.5 points per game as he makes both free throws here. And it's now a 7-point game. With Kolak coming off the screen by Williamson. Backdoor, Hakeem Williams got stripped as he elevated. That was Boone on the reach-in. And for Boone, his second. 4th on the Blue Jays in this half. As Hakeem Williams goes to the line. Where he's 0 for 1 so far today. And he's filling the stat sheet. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, a block.
If we have a double-double watch, if Williams knocks down this free throw, he's definitely the closest.
Gets only 1 of 2. Nice effort by Bolt to back tap it and keep it alive. Now it's Nego to the left, into the corner to Bolt. Bolt ran into a double team, got stripped. Taken away by Malachi for the Blue Jays. Titans settle for 1 on that trip. Now Blahud goes baseline. Has to dribble out of trouble. 62-54. Boone. Now Pearson once again in the wing. Blahut moves in on his man. The give and go to Boone. Shuffles in on Bolt. Bounce pass inside. Nicely done. The reverse by Malachi. No good, but fouled as he got bottled up underneath bucket. It's on Nathan Bolt. His first and team's 6th.
And if I'm Illinois Wesleyan on the offensive side, Elmhurst has 2 players with 3 fouls, Pearson and Malachi. Both have been impactful, whether it be on the stat sheet or just creating chaos away from the basketball. Those are the 2 you have to go after, because the one way to pour water on a run or an offensive onslaught is you take away the key characters. And whoever picks up 4, you get them out of the game, it makes life a lot easier for you.
Bolt is out, Mason Funk back in, and he gets the free throw. Rebound off the second miss. Malachi goes 0 for 2 on that trip. And the Titans maintain an 8-point lead. Wilmson on the right, over to Akeem Williams. Draws the double, has to kick it out, but it was tipped up in the air by Blahu. Nice save by Malachi. Into the backcourt, tracked down by Kolak. Titans frenetically back in the front court. They go out to Funk, cross-courts the ball. Williams at 3, puts up a 3. High in the air, backed up by Wilmson, but to Jack Cherry for the Blue Jays. Approaching the midway mark of the second half. Cherry on the right, flips it baseline, and the block by Funk. So good at coming from behind to get the rejection. 13 of the shot clock.
He's already set his career high in points. He's one block away from doing that today.
But we come to learn from Akeem Williams that there was such a thing as a Mason Funk block. I don't know how many of those he has today. Pull up in the paint, no good by Blahut. And Jackson Ego climbs the ladder to pull down that miss. Apparently that is defined as a come-from-behind rejection, which is kind of his trademark. Jump step into the corner. Funk with a head fake, pops a 3 and hits.
Is that trademark for him too?
It's quickly becoming one. 17 for Mason Funk, as he's tacking on more to his career best, and the Titans' lead is 11. Their biggest lead of the half with 9:27 to go. Pearson threw it away off the midsection of Harrison and Wilmson. Titans back the other way. Funk in traffic all the way in. Blew past everyone. Caught him flat-footed. And another timeout called by the Blue Jays. Mason Funk with 19 points. Boy, he has had a re-emergence here in the past couple of games. Was struggling offensively. And, of course, a lot going on at that time of the academic calendar, but he looks to be playing free and easy these days.
Not only that, but when you have a deep team like Illinois Wesleyan does, there are going to be days where it's one guy, there are going to be days where it's another guy, and the key to success for teams that have that depth, it's recognizing who has the hot hand. We saw it in this game. You put a microscope on it. When Funk was in early, Titans led by 15. Funk sat down, Elmhurst tied the game. Mason Funk comes back in, hits a 3 to reclaim the lead for Illinois Wesleyan, and they've been ahead ever since.
Now ahead by 13 at 67-54, just too short of their game high. They led by 15 midway through the first half before the Blue Jays came back and tied. The Blue Jays have burned all but one timeout here with 9:13 to go. They are trademarks of a John Baines team, and we've come to know them well over the last 12 years from the Illinois Wesleyan alum who was part of the Titans' 1998 championship team. But his team today, and maybe it's just the inexperience that we're not accustomed to, not the typical performance that we're used to from the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and burning that timeout has a bit of a question mark on it because, yes, you want to stop the bleeding here at 7 points with the Titans starting to get momentum on a 6-0 run over the last 2.5 minutes. However, you only have one in your back pocket. And you know what your team is capable of. We saw it in the first half. If they're able to come back, you only have one timeout in your pocket and a young roster. It's not really the situation you want to be in. However, it shows that if that is the situation, Coach Baines has trust in his guys.
Yeah, perhaps he's feeling that now is the moment to keep it from slipping away entirely. As Trellenberg puts it in play, Ajahong Beta. And back to Trellenberg. Token pressure by the Titans, and now they'll go back into the man-to-man. As we come up on 9 minutes to go. Cherry looking for a step. Charges into Funk, missed it. And Wilmson grabs the rebound. Now it's Fridman off the pick. Left of the lane. Corner to Kolak, put his defender down, and Trellenberg was on the move, and he picks up the personal. That's his second foul. And number 4 on Elmhurst University. Kolak has the trigger. Shot clock resets to 20 on the whistle. Fridman with a move on Cherry. The double inside to Wilmson for 2.
Classic pick and pop, pick and roll right there from the Titan tandem.
Double figures for Wilmson, who only had 2 at the break. He's had a big second half. As the Titans match their biggest margin of the day, Kolak reaches in, snatches it away. Titans with a break 3-on-2. Kolak steps up, Funk right of the lane. Back out to Williamson.
Time and score.
Fridman into the corner. Williams for 3. Got it. Hakeem Williams in double figures. And the Titans lead balloons to 18. They've scored 10 straight. Now with 8 minutes to go.
It's the largest of the day, and Carlo Kolak could have easily taken that free in transition. However, given the situation, set things up, get it right, and it results in a Williams 3.
And they get another turnover. Titans now leading by 18. It's Kolak top of the key, an open 3. Long on this one, but Hakeem Williams runs it down. Well, the Blue Jays are just a step slow here this afternoon. That's just not something you're used to seeing from a John Baines team. Now the Titans called timeout here with 13 of the shot clock and 7:30 for the game as the Titans lead 72-54.
And that's a good timeout by Coach Rose. And look at that play you see right there from Fridman to Williamson. That is a great duo. We saw it yesterday in the women's game for Elmhurst. The reason why they're probably one of the most improved teams in the CCIW is they have a great point guard and a great post. That's the recipe for success in basketball. If you have great action up top and great action down low, you're going to be set. And the Titans indeed having that here today. A great performance so far from Fridman. 8 points, has done a lot away from the basketball. You can say the same about Jackson Nego. We talked about how both are going to have to come into their role, and I think a code has been cracked for Ron Rose.
And Mason Funk has a career-high 19 points as the Titans are shooting a blistering 70% from the floor, 28 out of 40. They're 6 for 12 from three-point range, so they've been selective in their three-point attempts, and they continue to shoot it at a highly efficient clip. The Blue Jays just 38% from the floor. They're 10 of 20 from 3. That's the only thing that's kept them in it here this long. And you see the championship banner that was raised as part of that team that John Baines was a part of. And he was a junior here for Denny Bridges' team.
He certainly has had Wesleyan's number during his time at the helm of the Blue Jays. However, maybe a different story this evening.
As Kolak will put it in play in front of the Wesleyan bench. Fridman to the handoff. Funk up top. Trey Bazell back in on the wing. Feeds Williamson. On to Leafy. Good cross scored at 2 at 1. The 3 is in and out for Kolak, and a save there by Mason Funk. They get 20 seconds more, and they don't use it all. Trey Bazell buries the 3 from the top of the key. Boy, that is a backbreaker for the Blue Jays. They give up the offensive rebound and then the 3 that puts the lead at 21 points.
And they've done that twice within the past minute of play.
75-54. This game has gotten out of hand here for the Blue Jays with under 7 minutes to go. The double team, the steal by Fridman. Hot foots it down court ahead to Funk, left of the lane. Tried to reverse and got fouled as he collided with Aiden Boone, who picks up the foul. Aiden Boone with his 3rd foul, team 6th. The Blue Jays have gone 6 minutes and 16 seconds without a field goal, as the Titans have scored 13 in a row. Funk makes the first as he hits 20. Nick Roper back in, and remember, they've done all this with Nick Roper on the bench with 4 fouls. And Carlo Kolak checks out. 1 of 2 for Funk. And the rebound going to DeLepe for the Blue Jays. It's 76-54. Titans still not ready to exhale just yet against this Blue Jay team. DeLepe goes baseline. Cross courts the ball one-handed to Trellenberg. Looking for a step on Roper. Had the double team and threw it away. That'll be a backcourt violation as Boone was unable to rescue it in time. Marco Anderson and Nathan Bolt back in. Funk and Williamson, tremendous minutes in the second half for both those 2 young men.
Williamson with 8 second half points. Funk continuing to do what he's done. He had 8. couple of key baskets, and we'll see if their day is done, given what Elmhurst did in the first half. Coach Rowe's not ready to call off the Dogs just yet, but with the tenor of this game, that may be the case.
Roper left of the lane, goes baseline, drew contact on DeLippe. And that's going to be his second. And they are now at their limit. Now with 6. So a 1-and-1 here coming for the Titans, and Nick Roper. And a 1-2 is good. So Roper now with 5 points and limited minutes for him. He's been battling foul trouble all afternoon. And he gets 1 of 2. Tapped away by Bolt. It'll go to the Blue Jays. Richard to inbound. A 23-point lead for Illinois Wesleyan as they look to close out conference play in December with their second straight win before they go back to non-conference play at the end of the month, starting with WashU here in 4 days. Boone strokes a 3. It's long. DeLippe runs it down. Trellenberg with the jab step, pokes a 3. That's no good. Tipped by Bolt, tracked down by Friedman with a nice outlet. Here's Roper out in front with a two-handed throwdown. Second dunk of the day for Roper. And the onslaught continues. Ball thrown away nearly at midcourt. They get a 2-on-2. DeLippe will bring it out. Put a move on Anderson. Got him on skates and hits the baseline jumper. Their first basket in 7.5 minutes. Probably too little too late.
You can't have that drought if you expect to win a basketball game. Unless you play the best defense that anyone's ever seen, you got to be able to score in that time.
Bazell nearly banked it in, but couldn't find the rim. Now with 5 minutes to go. Backdoor ball thrown wide for Trellenberg. We mentioned a few moments ago the Titans were shooting 70% from the floor, which had us scurrying for the record books. They're a little short of that. The record goes back to 1990, which came against the Blue Jays. The Titans shot 78% from the floor at a game against Elmhurst. They were 36 of 46 in that one.
I implore all math majors to take a gander at this. They're 30 of 44 from the floor. Do your thing.
Well, they're not quite there, I know that. There's Roper with an open 3. That one spins out. And Bold apparently reached over and knocked it out of bounds. So the Titans won't quite get that record, but that's...
It's finals time. You got to ask a question, and now I got to do the math problem. 30 of 45. I carry the 1 and all that.
Where's my abacus? I don't know. I can't help you.
As a sports media major, I don't math very well.
79-56. Titans with the lead, and I am safe enough in my math skills to know that's a pretty comfortable lead here with 4.5 minutes to go, barring a big-time Blue Jay comeback. Hajahong Beta dribbles around, covered by Bolt, looking for some help. Feeds the post. Roskowitz with a double clutch at 3, at 2, bottled up and fouled just as the shot clock expired. Now they double-teamed him, triple-teamed him, and Nathan Bolt got to whistle his second. Oh, they're still playing tough defense down to the wire here.
Yeah, you don't want to foul with under 3 on the shot clock. However, time, score, situation, you learn lessons at these times.
Roskowitz, transfer from Aurora, missed the first. He's just 2 for 8 at the line this year. Averaging just over 2 points a game for the senior. From Addison, Illinois. And short on the second as well. Roper pulls down the rebound for Illinois Wesleyan. Roper brings it across to Jackson Ego on the left. Approaching 4 minutes to go. Bazell, Bolt, Nego around the pick. Nego on the drive, pushes it up and in, and it goes with a foul to boot. Jackson Nego with a bucket here for Illinois Wesleyan. And it looks like the Blue Jays are going to get some fresh players into the game. Jeffrey Williams, a freshman from Lafayette, Indiana, along with Talon Pearson, the freshman younger brother of Tegan from Westchester, Illinois, and 3-point opportunity here for Jackson Nego. Couldn't finish, but backed up by Bolt, and Roper tracks it down for Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah, 3 players that just entered all played in the varsity reserve game just a couple hours ago, which was a backbreaker. Let's see if they still have the legs.
Miller on the drive of the dish inside to Marco Anderson, blocked out of bounds. That was a big comeback win for the varsity reserves, coached by grad assistant Ryan Schmidt. 2 big shots in the final moments of that one. Alex Schmitz had the game-winning 3 with 19 seconds to go. They won by 2. Ball knocked away by Jeffrey Williams for the Blue Jays. New players in for the Titans. We see Dylan Schmidt, sophomore from Johnsburg, Illinois, along with Shane Miller, who had some minutes here in the first half. David Williams out of the lineup. His foot in a boot. Hope to get him back in soon. Yes, Jeffrey Williams has a pair of free throws here for the Blue Jays. And he'll get one more. Well, the Titans have a tough one here on Thursday with WashU coming to town. It doesn't get any easier for the Blue Jays, as they've got 2 top 10 foes awaiting them in Charlotte, North Carolina. As Williams missed the second, Roskowitz tipped it out of bounds. They've got 7th-ranked Randolph-Macon, followed by Christopher Newport the following day. That's going to be tough for a team that will be coming off its 5th loss of the early season. E.J. Marshall now in, the sophomore from Proviso East, and he picks up the whistle.
He's got a lot of upside. The Blue Jays led by double digits in the varsity reserve game. He was a big reason why. It's definitely a player that, if I'm Coach Rose and the rest of his staff right now, I'm watching, because this could be tape that he puts on that could be very useful in the future.
Nego with 2 points, now with 3 as he makes the first of a 1 in bonus. It's been a while since we've seen a young John Baines team come of age as varsity players, and we're going to get to see that here over the next year or two, and there's no doubt that they're going to be among the top contenders once again here very soon as Nego sinks both free throws.
Also, with the COVID eligibility waning away, you see a lot of 5th, 6th-year guys go.
Ajahong Bate on the dribble drive, knocked to the floor, picked up the foul.
Transfer portal still exists, but coaches are going to have to go back to the old-fashioned way of recruiting guys out of high school and developing them, especially in basketball and at this level.
And the Blue Jays have been able to take advantage of that in recent years. A couple of key players last year, Quinn Pemberton for one, was a 1 and done. As Ajahong Beta hit off the back rim 3 times, but did not get it through the hoop.
Yeah, Pemberton was a self-made story. Went to Boston College, walked on, scrapped away some minutes out in Chestnut Hill, came back home, the Loyola Academy in Highland Park, Illinois native, and was able to have a great season for Elmhurst in his last year of eligibility.
Ajahong Beta gets 1 of 2. 83-58, Illinois Wesleyan. Miller will pop a 3. Comes up short. Anderson looked like he was going to throw it off Roskowitz. That was a little too close, so he redirected it. And Blue Jays come away with it. In the post, Ajahong Beta bottled up, kicks it out. Williams, a right elbow jumper, rattles out, tipped up by Ajahong Beta, and was a little soft in the putback as he goes out of bounds. Here with the 2:49 to go. Now Titans will go to the bench once again. Alex Miller is in for the first time.
And I wouldn't be shocked. It's like the playground. Titans win the first game. Elmhurst says, hey, let's run it back. We're going to see 5-on-5. Same pairings that we saw in the varsity reserve game just a couple hours ago.
With the 2:40 on the clock, Nego shovels it off to Miller. Strokes a 3. Off the side of the 10. Ajahong Beta has the rebound for the Blue Jays. Ahead to Jeffrey Williams for 3. Bricked it. Shane Miller the other way. In transition. Boy, there is only one speed to Shane Miller as he crashes into the front row and picks up the foul.
Elmhurst foul on Taylor.
And that's going to be on Talon Pearson. His first and the 10th on the Blue Jays.
That's going to be the sign to Coach Rose of let's start cycling guys in and out over the last 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Even though great move by Miller, great decision by Miller, the last thing you want to see is someone go hard into the bleachers with the score and time that we have.
And Miller misses the first. Now we got a couple of guys coming in. Alex Schmitz, the Game 1 hero, is in for the first time in this contest. The 6'5 freshman from Barrington. About to be joined by Connor Williams if Miller makes this free throw, and he does. So now we see Connor Williams, the freshman from Stagg. And Miller checks out with 5 points. And some solid minutes off the bench for Coach Rose with 2:16 to go. And this one well in hand. Hajong Beta into the corner. The rebound was long by Talon Pearson. Saved by Roskowitz. Now 2 minutes to go. Drive by Marshall, bumped by Jackson Nigo. And that's going to be his second foul. Both teams in the double bonus. So 2 free throws for E.J. Marshall, who's 69% of the line this year. These two teams are going to meet again in February, the first Saturday of the month at Fagottle Hall in a 4:15 start. And curious to see where the Blue Jays are. A young team is probably going to be a lot more dangerous on the back half of the season as they start to gel and find roles for some of their underclassmen.
Exactly, and looking at that date, February 1st, usually when the calendar turns to the second month of the year, that's when you pull out the good old 16 bracket and you start to take a look of who's playing for what. And if Elmhurst is in the slightest of contention, that could be a dangerous game for Illinois Wesleyan.
84-60, Titans are on top. Alex Miller at the top. Over to Dylan Schmidt. Jump step into the paint. Oh, a nifty move around his defender and got the bank in for 2 for his first bucket. 86-60. Here with 1:32 to go. And the drive by Pearson. Kicks it back out to Marshall. Marshall steps into a long 3. Hajong Beta tipped it. Williams collected it. He got fouled to the follow by Schmitz. Here with 1:19 to go. Schmidt's first foul. And 2 charity throws here for Jeffrey Williams, the freshman from Lafayette, Indiana.
One of the things that has shown up on the stat sheet is you look at the Titans' big wins from this year. With north of 80 against Platteville, north of 90 against Calou, north of 80 against Westminster. Like, when the Titans offense can play how they played today, it can be a dangerous basketball team.
And yet Coach Rose says the defense is their trademark, but when they've got both ends of the floor playing complementary basketball, probably not a lot of teams are going to beat them on their best nights. 3 in the corner, good for Marshall to make it 86-65, but certainly the Titans had both ends working in full gear here today.
And the Coach Rose's argument, the best offense is great defense. They go hand in hand.
And they have certainly today for the Titans, who have shot the ball exceptionally well here today. They've been able to give themselves some high percentage looks. Top of the key, Schmitz a long 3, a rainbow. Pulled down by Williams, back out 3 on the way by Miller is long. Talon Pearson with a rebound, and we have a Blue Jay player who got hit, it looked like, and that's going to be E.J. Marshall on the sidelines. And they're looking at his left calf, it looks like.
Yeah, no matter who it is, you don't want that in this situation. 23.8 seconds left. Obviously, you got to play till the clock hits triple zeros, but the Titans leading by 21. Gets up fast. He's had a long day, played almost every single minute in the varsity reserve game earlier this afternoon, getting some varsity minutes. And so sometimes it's just that one play that puts you over the edge.
Always found it tough. Of course, you have to be ready to play both, and you want that opportunity. But when you're also sitting for a prolonged period of time after 2 hours to come back out at full strength. That could be hard, even on a young, fully healthy body like E.J. Marshall. But good to see he's able to get to the bench okay and walk that off. As Ajahong Beta knocks down a three from right of the lane to put the finishing touches on this one. Titans don't have to shoot, and Nigo will bring it across, and they'll dribble out the final seconds on this one. A convincing Illinois Wesleyan victory, 86-68 over the Elmhurst Blue Jays. An impressive performance today against a young but talented Blue Jay team.
And heading into the CCIW holiday break, this is where teams want to be. You want to end on a good note, similar to what we talked about at Carroll. If you have to go a week plus sitting on a loss, it's not a healthy taste. But to head in to the elongated break from conference play, then that is exactly what you need if you're Illinois Wesleyan. So a great performance by Coach Rose and his team. And you could say this game was tough, but man, do they have a master test on Thursday.
Yeah, Wash U is coming up on Thursday night at Shirk Center. A matchup of top 10 foes. Should be a dandy. But we'll take a minute to reflect on this one with Coach Rose and a player guest at the other side of this break as the Titans win 86-68. Our player guest coming up here in just a moment. Mason Funk makes his way up. We'll be back after this timeout. This is Titan Basketball on IWSports.com.
OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute has been named one of the top hospital systems in the country for heart care. This prestigious award by the American College of Cardiology comes from our commitment to providing the highest quality of care, from general cardiology to complex surgeries and the latest technology. Nationally recognized heart care right here. OSF Healthcare Cardiovascular Institute.
And welcome back to Shirk Center here at Illinois Wesleyan. The Titans get a convincing victory here today over the Elmhurst Blue Jays, 86-68. Eric Stock here along with Matt Sossler. Our player guest today is Mason Funk, a career-high 20 points at the Titan victory. Congratulations, Mason. It looked like you guys were really playing free and easy this afternoon.
Yeah, that was definitely a goal coming into this game.
And going off of that, a career high for you on a day where you guys start hot out of the gate, they claw back, you're on the bench, you come back in immediately, hit a three. What was the message to the team in coming back in and able to execute?
Just keep playing free. We need to stop relaxing sometimes when we come out hot like that. It's just keep playing, just stuff like that.
Well, the Blue Jays, a team always very physical. Now, they're a younger team than they typically are, but what was it like going up against their size here this afternoon?
It was something we prepared for, so I think we were ready for it. It got to us a little bit towards the end of the first half, but we prepared for it, and I think we handled it well.
Having a week off between the Carroll game last Saturday and then Elmhurst, a rematch of last year's CCIW game, I know them cutting down the nets in front of you was definitely a motivation, but how does having that break against a team of such high caliber help you guys get ready to do what you did?
I think it was big for us, just a chance for us to regroup, especially after the loss to Carthage. So we could definitely refine some things that we had to work on. So that was big for us.
Well, we noticed that Nick Roper goes out with 3 fouls in the first half. You guys were able to maintain the lead. He was out for a big stretch in the second half with 4 fouls. Now, we know this team is exceptionally deep, and that's a strength of this team, but you were able to pull away after that. And it looked like that was a pivotal moment in this game where the Blue Jays had to be thinking, this is our chance to come back, and you guys shut that down.
Yeah, I think we've taken pride in our bench all year long. Great pep talk by Coach Rose during halftime. get our bench riled up. But yeah, I think our bench is exceptional, and it showed it today.
Now, this is a week ago now, but you had a block against Carroll that I wanted to touch on for a moment because Hakeem Williams, after the game last week, said we hadn't seen a Mason Funk block yet. I didn't know what he meant by that, but then the block that you had against Carroll was a true Mason Funk block. So how do you define a Mason Funk block?
I mean, that's what you saw at Carroll. I would do it in high school all the time. I liked pinning off the glass, basically. That's what I like to do.
It seems like you're really good at baiting the defender into taking the shot. Like, yeah, you think you're going to get the shot off, but you're really not.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. People tell me my arms are long, so it's just like a sneaky thing. I don't know if I'm baiting him or not, but I don't know.
I would think the league would have caught up by now.
I don't think so. It's too sneaky for him.
I guess so. Well, I know it's been a really tough time for you guys having to get through finals and all of the academic part, which, of course, is primary to why you're here. So what has that been like to get through that for this semester and now just since yesterday to be able to focus for the next few weeks at least on basketball?
Well, especially during finals, basketball was a way to take our mind off the academics. Now that it's over, we're professional basketball players, so we're locked in.
That's true, and you have another big test here on Thursday night. What are your thoughts about WashU coming here?
I think we're going to be locked in. We beat them last year. That's huge. I think we're going to bring the same energy this year.
We'll look forward to it. Thanks for the time. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you out here on Thursday.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, you bet. Thank you. That is a Mason Funk, Illinois Wesleyan sophomore, a career-best 20-point performance today. Also a pair of block shots in the Titans' victory, 86-68 over Elmhurst. Ron Rose will make his way here in just a second as the Titans get the victory that improves their record to 8-1 on the year and 2-1 in CCIW play. As Coach Rose is joining us here now. And boy, what a great start for this team that sometimes has struggled a bit coming out of the gate. Not the case here tonight.
Yeah, it came out with a ton of energy. I thought we had great space. We talked about that at the pregame. I thought we were cutting hard. We were moving the ball. It was a terrific start. I thought we were really active on the defensive end. And then we kind of hit the skids. And I give Elmhurst credit. They got a lot of young guys, and they fought right back. We kind of threw the first punch. They threw the second. And, I think we got to learn from that we just got to keep playing with the same sort of urgency and purpose that we started the game, and we just have a tendency to relax a little bit and don't play with that extra edge. And when we play with the extra edge, when you have as good of athletes as we do in size, we can be pretty good at times.
It's like it almost came too easy for the first 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think when you play hard and you execute, it can look easy even though it's not.
Right.
And when you don't play hard, do your work early, then it gets really hard. And I thought our guys did their work early on both ends of the floor in the first 5 minutes, and then we just kind of got a little complacent. The two things that, if you broke down the first half scoring, we've had a lot of turnovers that have led to baskets, and I think they had 13 points on turnovers the first half, 8 offensive rebounds. So there's 21 of what they have, 37. So our half-court defense, when we got it set and rebounded, it was pretty good. But turnovers and offensive rebounds, that if we can limit those things, I think, and just let our half-court defense work, it has a chance to be pretty good.
You mentioned edge a couple of questions ago. They cut down the nets last February. How big was that coming into this game?
Well, certainly you didn't forget that. That game still stings. That kept us out of the NCAA tournament, chance to win the conference tournament on your floor. That one really hurt, and with as many guys that experienced kind of that disappointment, certainly you remember that. The reality is, every CCIW game needs to be approached the same way because there's rivalries with everyone. But certainly just 6 months ago they were cutting our nets down. So didn't want to had to protect home court, I guess.
Josh Fredman gets his first start, rare for a freshman in his first semester. Scores 8 points. How do you feel he handled that today?
Terrific. Josh has played really well. And, we graduated a really good point guard in Luke Yoder last year, and everyone wondered, what are you going to do? Are you going to be okay at the point? And I've said we've got 3 really good point guards in our program in Josh Jackson and David Williams. And I thought Josh came out and played with a lot of composure for a freshman in his first start. He's so quick and he sees the floor. I've always said this, the thing I really like, he's just got a lot of game. He can shoot it, and, he drives it, he passes it, he can make some things happen. He's a pretty exciting young player to watch play.
Mason Funk has sort of a breakout game offensively, doing what he does on defense. What do you think was the difference for him playing in offensive rhythm so fluidly today?
Yeah, I think not having to study for his pre-med curriculum. Listen, Mason is a terrific player, and he's a terrific student. And our team calls him Doc because he's a pre-med student, and he's killing in the classroom, but he's spending a lot of time doing it. Sure. There's no doubt the poor kid was exhausted the last couple weeks. He's up till 1 or 2 o'clock studying, and it's given him a little extra time to get some shots in. He's not up till 1 o'clock studying. I really do think that has a lot to do with kind of he just playing free and easy. And I've always said that's one thing I loved about Mason is you just wind him up, he gets on the court, and he goes. And he certainly did tonight. He had a great game.
Nick Roper gets his 3rd foul relatively early in the first half. So you have to take him out. He gets his 4th very early on in the second half, yet both times the team is not only able to maintain the lead but then build on it. When the Blue Jays had to feel that was their opportunity to come back.
Well, certainly, I don't know. I think we're better when Nick Roper's not in foul trouble. That's not what we want, and Nick needs to figure that out. He's gotten himself in foul trouble a few times, and before I put him in with 2 fouls, I felt like we really needed him. We were struggling, and he promised me he'd be smart. And that's why it's such a tough decision for coaches is when someone gets their 2nd foul, do you play him, don't you play him? We initially went zone trying to protect him a little bit. So I think Nick just has to realize sometimes one play's not as important as keeping him on the floor for 2 or 3 more minutes. And so that's something he's got to grow into because we need him on the floor in these big games.
But you also don't want him to not bring the intensity on defense. How do you manage that? You can't have 5-on-4 basketball.
Yeah, no, you still got to play. You just can't get cheap fouls. He had 2 fouls jumping, coming down on guys, so he just has to be smarter in positioning himself. He still can have a huge impact and play aggressively without fouling. And so that's just kind of the next. All these guys, they go through stages of development, and Rope is. He's a stud. He's a first-team all-conference guy, and we need him on the floor. And so this is the next stage of figuring out how to be aggressive, how to play hard, how to have impact the game without fouling.
What really stands out in the stats is points in the paint, 46-10 against a Blue Jay team of any kind is pretty remarkable.
Well, Coach Baines and I are really, really good friends, and I have the ultimate respect for him as a coach. He really does a great job. And so when you play Elmhurst, you've got to be prepared, and his teams are always tough. And you mentioned it, tough in the paint, tough rebounding on the boards. And so I think a lot of those points in the paint came in transition. One of the things that we've emphasized is trying to spread the floor, move the ball to give our guys cutters and drivers more opportunity. And so I think a lot of those came in those as opposed to just the traditional post feed. 4
days till WashU comes here.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite a matchup, right?
It is. I think a lot of people peg it as the best Division III non-conference rivalry anywhere in the country, and it goes back to when I played. I mean, there's been great game after great game after great game. Certainly when you have 2 teams that are ranked in the top 10 in the country, you really look forward to that. Now, this game was more important.
Sure.
This is the one we have focused on. We've got other coaches that have been watching WashU. I haven't watched them play yet, but I've paid attention to their scores. It's pretty impressive, and I know their personnel. So it's got. I mean, if Bloomington Normal, you want to see some terrific small college basketball, it'll be Thursday. It'll be two really good teams, two really proud programs going at each other.
And you got 4 days to prepare for it.
Yep. And no school. No studying. What, they got nothing else to do, right, Eric?
Of course, it's all basketball.
Basketball.
Which is what they want. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck. We'll see you back here on Thursday.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Alrighty, thank you. Coach Juan Rose as Illinois Wesleyan gets the victory today, 86-68. Our final score. A quick look at the final numbers in this victory for Illinois Wesleyan. Led by 3 in double figures, Mason Funk's career-high 20 points to go with a pair of block shots. Hakeem Williams, 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Harrison Williamson, 10 points, 4 rebounds. Josh Fridman, in his first start, 8 points, a team-high 5 assists. Trey Bazell had 7. Nick Roper had 7. Only played 16 minutes because of foul trouble. Shane Miller had 5 off the bench. Marco Anderson had 6. Jackson Nego had 4. Carlo Kolak had 3. Nathan Bolt had 2. Dylan Schmidt had 2. Alex Miller, Connor Williams, and Alex Schmitz all played but did not score. Titans were 32 of 52 from the floor for 62%, including 70% in the first half. They finished 7 of 19 from 3 for 37%, 15 of 23 at the free throw line for 65%. Elmhurst shot 37% from the floor, 20 of 54, 12 of 27 from 3 at 44%, 16 of 26 at the free throw line for 62%. Titans were plus 6 on the boards, 34-28, had 15 turnovers. Blue Jays had 16. Elmhurst had 3 in double figures, led by Sebastian Blahut and Tegan Pearson with 11. Dominic Trellenberg had 10. Aiden Boone had 9. Nashot Dalipi had 6. E.J. Marshu had 5. Jack Cherry had 9. Vinny Adjung Beta had 4. Jeffrey Williams had 3. Blue Jays fall to 4-5 on the year, 1-2 in the league, and the Titans go to 8-1 and 2-1 in CCIW play, and ending this portion of the conference season on a high note.
That's exactly what you need. 2 losses at this point in the conference season, especially if you have your eyes set on hosting rights or a first-round bye. It's definitely huge that the Titans were able to avoid loss number 2, especially considering their first loss to Carthage just 10 days ago. Another aspect I want to point out before we say goodnight is no Titan played more than 25 minutes. I know Wash U is your typical Saturday, Wednesday, or in this case, Sunday, Thursday turnaround, so they'll be in rhythm, and like Coach Rose said, it's basketball from here on out until second semester starts, but that's going to be huge on some guys' legs, especially with a tough game coming up then, and then the Christmas break, and then they go down to Texas. And one thing before we say goodnight, there are 2 really important basketball games taking place for the Titans this week. The women on Tuesday against the University of Chicago. That's a ranked-on-ranked matchup. The men, a top 10 matchup on Thursday. Both tips at 7 p.m. Students are off campus. If you're in the area and you want to see some great college basketball, come to the Shirk Center. You won't regret it. We got 2 great programs in Bloomington Normal with 2 pivotal games. If you want to see them playing basketball into March, they got to have your support this week.
2 terrific games at Shirk Center. Hope to see you here or catch our videos at iwsports.com. Our thanks to Matt Sossler, our crew here, Caleb Himes, Lola Avila, Nicole Duma, and Tyler Wilson. We'll talk to you on Thursday night. Again, our final score, Illinois Wesleyan 86, Elmhurst 68. This has been Illinois Wesleyan Titan Basketball on iwsports.com.